and carry Annie.
Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Hey y'all, welcome and happy Thursday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news and hot topics. So that's a show for you. Definitely stick around. We got a lot of tea to spill. But before we get to said tea, if you could please do me a solid and hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please and thank you. Ooh, hold on, did I? Oh, so yeah, we got a lot of topics and stuff to talk about today. But before we get to those topics, I just want to say I apologize when I come on yesterday. I know I told y'all I was supposed to come on, but I don't know. It's just all of a sudden I started developing this cold. My voice was going, and I was just like mentally I wasn't even up for it. I don't know. It must have been something going on in the water. It was some energy that was just weird. So I was like, I just need a day, but I'm back, bitch. So glad to see you all in the room and watching this messy show of mine. And so yeah, we got a lot of topics to talk about. We got to talk about Mason Gooding spilling tea about Scream 7. We got to talk about Irv Gotti. Of course, y'all probably already heard that he passed away yesterday. He had a multitude of strokes and he was pronounced brain dead. I was like, yeah, if the machines is keeping him alive, he's gone. But the people is dragging 50 Cent because 50 Cent's being his usual messy troll self. And it seemed like he don't understand how to like not show respect for people. And they dragged his ass on social media. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, we got to talk about Wendy Williams. Now, you know, she was not supposed to be out here. Part of the deal with her going over to Miami to see her father. She wasn't supposed to be talking to the press. But what did Miss Mamas do yesterday? Talk to the press. So we have to talk about that. And her guardian is putting her up on a challenge, saying that, okay, well, since you out here saying that you're not incapacitated and you don't have frontal temporal dementia, then prove it, sis. We're about to send you to the doctor and we're going to have them give you a series of tests. So, we're going to talk about that. Plus, child, they are ripping apart Amy Schumer's new Netflix comedy, and we got to go into that because some of the comments was a cackle. And the reason why, well, this is a method to my man. That's why I bring up on here because I don't think her ass is funny, but I do find it funny that people are coming to this revelation. I'm like, it took a Netflix movie for y'all to realize that, but we'll get into it. Plus, Azealia Banks is coming to the defense of the trans community. Just remember to knock her upside her head because since when was she pro-trans? But this is an inside tea that I know on why all of a sudden she's coming to this revelation. But also, she is reading J.K. Rowling down to the floor and that strong ass man jaw that bitch got. And you know, reading her for her comments that she's been going in on the trans community so damn much. So apparently she trying to be an ally for the trans girls and the boys and everybody else that's in between. Speaking about that, plus David Archuleta is open up about dating closeted homosexuals after he came out of the closet. And Peaches Christ, who, you know, we talked about her, she had found the iconic drag queen, Heklina, unalive in a Soho flat while they were doing their play over, you know, in the UK. She got an apology from the police. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. So y'all know what to do. If anything pops off during the show, drop it in the comments. We chat about it and maybe become a part of the show because it's going to be a short one today. You know, I don't have that many topics. I think I've got about like 8 or 9. Versus what I usually do, which would be like 15. I'm like, Chad, why are you doing this to yourself? I think I just like, I'm a glutton for punishment. But anyway, so let me hit my banner. Let's see who's in the comments. Ooh, Robert says, hello. Robert says, we got a bunch of new Cardi B music coming from the Smurf soundtrack. Oh, I didn't know she was a part of that. But I did hear, I mean, I did do a story yesterday and I thought about bringing it into the show, but I'm like, yeah, that could be like a little 1 minute and a half TikTok video that she coming out. She announced yesterday on Twitter in the spaces, because she's always saying stuff on social media, that the album is done. It should be on there. And she said she's about to give us about at least 20 songs. Which I would think after making people wait 6 damn years, you might as well give us over a dozen tracks. Like we need almost 2 dozen tracks. I say push for a good 24. Fuck a 20. But I just hope the songs is good though. That's all I want. It's like, girl, just put the music out. We just want to hear it. Hopefully it's good. And that's that. You can't control how people are going to feel about you. There's going to be people who's going to stay hating on your stuff. You're always going to get the Nicki Minaj comparisons. You're going to get the barbs that's going to come into your stuff and just purposely troll you. You can't focus on that. Just put the music out. The fans like it, like it. The fans that don't like it, that's fine. And then you get the hip hop purists that'll come out and give their opinion too. At the end of the day, you just got to do what you got to do. Art, music, and all of that is subjective. Who cares what other people have to say? Just put it out there. But she says it's done. So, well, it's just going to be on the Smurf soundtrack. I know she cleaned that mouth up. It's a glad now that Washington is stopping Elon Musk after that. They need to, because this man is crazy. And then I'm watching The View, and they said, they're talking about, well, why is Trump bowing down to Elon? I'm like, do y'all not pay attention to what's actually going on? Or do y'all get all y'all news from AB damn C? Like, sis, they bought into our camp. They bought into our government. Elon Musk, who's not even American, gave Trump $200 million damn dollars. The minute you get that man money, Trump is for sale. He's a whore, like the woman he married. Except she's selling puss. He's selling whatever he can to, because real estate. He's selling himself. Ain't about the buildings and stuff no more. Now he's selling himself for money. He loves money. He likes being rich. He basically rents out his damn name in them buildings. So if Elon Musk is going to give me $200 million and I'm somebody like a Trump, you don't think I'm going to sit there and let him do whatever the hell he wants? That's the way he's thinking. So I'm glad people finally waking up. I just wish the old people who just clearly just be in a little Delulu land would wake up too and realize what this country is. This country was built on colonization. Hello, you stole it from the damn Native Americans. If anybody should be pissed, it should be my damn ancestors. Pamela Gilmore. I believe this is the first time we probably spoken during a live. So good afternoon, Pamela in Detroit. Give it up, Detroit. Remember when Madonna said that during the with the Drown World Tour? Shout out to Detroit. And isn't what's the name from there too? Michael Moore. Hey yo. There were protests all over the country yesterday against the Trump agenda, and I'm glad that it is. And some people was like, well, because I wrote a comment and something like, okay, so what's going on? Why is nobody waking up? Why is nobody paying attention? Like, what's good? Like, why is nobody out protesting? And a friend of mine was like, well, they are out here protesting. I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't watch mainstream news. Because mainstream news like to block everything out and act like nothing's going on. But I'm glad the people, because I've been saying this to y'all, it is not up to the government to make changes. It's always been us, the people. We get tired of the BS. We get up out there, we protest, we fight. We risk our lives. That is how history has always been made. It's never been made because some politician woke up this morning like, you know what? I feel like abolishing slavery today. You know what? I feel like giving women their rights today, that they can go out and vote, or they can have autonomy over their own body. It's never been politicians. It's always been the people. So the sooner people wake up and realize that, but they don't want y'all to realize that because they want to keep erasing history. This is what they do. Anything by banning books and all this other stuff. And then Trump recently came up with this thing where that they wanted people to go easy on essay cases in schools or something or another. I was like trying to remember exactly what it was. I had and I posted it on my Facebook page. And per usual, whenever I post important shit, nobody laughs or likes that. But then if I post a stupid meme, y'all pipe up over those. So I was like, I don't even know where it went. Yeah, I don't see it in here. But I did repost that Elizabeth Warren thing. I always post stuff and then it just be so many things I be getting in my timeline. Oh, it was Trump orders schools to ease sex assault rules. So yeah, there was that story. So it was who was it that posted it? It was the Daily Beast. And yep, nobody's talking about it. But anyway, we're not going to be one of those political heavy shows. We like to talk mess over here. We'll do it in between. But for the most part, I try not to make this show too politically heavy. But, we talk about whatever in here. Now, let's get to some stuff about, let's get our first story. Let's talk about Mason Gooding, his fine behind, who's been making a lot of, he's been making the circuit, promoting his new movie, Hard Eyes, which comes out today. I definitely want to see this film. haven't got every time I would look for tickets and stuff, it was always late, and I'm like, why are y'all putting this movie up? But I get it, it's a horror movie, they and also it's around Valentine's, so I think maybe they're purposely making these show times later because they want it's a date movie. I mean, first of all, if there's any couples out there that love watching scary movies, kudos to y'all, because I know some people feel squirmish or squeamish. Well, squirming, you be squirming and you would be squeamish. But if you like stuff like that, well, first of all, I would love to be in a relationship with somebody who loves horror movie because as much as I do, because y'all already know when I'm on here, like I love all kinds of movies, but my favorite genre of film besides action films and sci-fi, horror is always at the top of the list. Like never a day goes by that I don't watch a scary movie. Like last night I watched Fright Night Part 2. That apparently was on Netflix. I'm like, I mean, not Netflix, it was on YouTube. I'm like, who the heck uploaded this whole movie on YouTube? So I sat there and watched that. I was thoroughly entertained because it was like, damn, it's been a minute since I seen this. It was a long time ago I seen this movie, and I actually sat and watched it. But anyway, so yeah, Mason Gooding has been doing the promotional circuit for Hard Eyes. You know what? Shout out to Cuba Gooding Jr. He made some good looking babies. With that white woman. I don't know your mother name Mason. I apologize. But so yeah. So while he's been on the promotional circuit for Hard Eyes, you already know that everybody's gonna be asking about Scream. And quite a few people have been asking about what can we expect from Scream 7, which you already know has been shrouded in a lot of controversy between all the stuff with Melissa Barrera being fired, Jenna Ortega dropping out for whatever reason she decided to drop out, and there's been so many conflicting reports. I don't want to sit here and rehash that. There have been many of Scream 7 videos that I've done on this where I've broken it down. Y'all can watch the old videos, or you could just Google schmoogle. All the information is out there, or whatever information they wanted to tell us. Now, Mason Gooding is back. People, I guess, have been upset about him coming back. I thought you was team, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, first of all, at the end of the day, a lot of these people are actors. They've got bills to pay, and they've got a lot of people on their team that they have to pay money too. Their agents, their managers, whoever else they got working with them on behind the scenes. They're not a solo situation. Every person that you see that is a performer has a team behind them that they have to pay money to. And they're part of whatever agency that they belong to, you got to pay your dues. So there's a whole lot that goes into this. And like I said before, a lot of you people out here piping up with the Free Palestine and all that other mess in regards to being upset over the whole Melissa Barrera thing, unless y'all about to create a GoFundMe for a lot of these actors that are signing up to do a Scream damn movie, then sit down and shut the fuck up because I don't want to hear it. So go out there and argue with your mammy. The real thing y'all should be out here doing is protesting these streets over the current fascism that is about to happen in our country. That should be the bigger thing y'all worried about rather than a bunch of actors starring in a freaking horror movie. So with that out of the way, Mason Gooding recently did an interview. And he was, I forget who the guy was that he did the interview with. It'll probably come up to me as I go through the article. But they were asking about what can we expect from this upcoming movie. And with all these actors signing on and stuff, it's kind of been having me scratch my head like, okay, so what's going on? Because y'all bringing back dead people and all this other stuff. And it's got people thinking, okay, is Spyglass desperate because the fandom is divided? So you have the legacy fans who are team Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox, those of us who've been watching the Scream franchise from the beginning, or is it that because Spyglass has come in and you have like the people who are the radio silence Scream jumper owners who came in through Scream 5 and 6 and their team Core 4, well, had the two of the Core 4 who are not a part of the franchise. And so it's created this division. So now y'all bringing in legacy cast members who supposed to be dead to try to be like, okay, so we're a little nervous instead of just making a movie and hoping for the best. So we're a little nervous. And now we need to start announcing all these castings. And it feels a little like desperate, especially when you have Matthew Lillard and you're announcing Scott Foley and all these other people. So in the story that was brought to us by Variety, they said that Gooding says that with Kevin Williamson directing directing Scream 7, as probably you don't know, or maybe you do, he wrote the original movie. He also wrote Scream 2 and he wrote Scream 4. So he basically has said that Ghostface is the most brutal he's ever been in the seventh installment and said, quote, it feels like an amplification of what came before. And there's no better indication of that than Kevin Williamson, who wrote the original, coming back now to direct. And they said, I think that Ghostface is absolutely the most brutal he's been. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's some stuff that they do to the human body that I feel like Kevin is breaking new ground with. And this is what he told Tommy Daddario in a recent video, who, sidebar, I have seen Tommy Daddario around, and he gives me very much like Superman tees, the little curl he had in the front end. I'm like, who is this man? Where has he been? And why is he so fine? Let me stop being a whore for 5 minutes. But I was like, okay, who this pretty man that's over here interviewing Mason Gooding? So then Gooding also described Scream 7 as gross, but in a good way. Well, I don't know how you could be gross in a good way. But then he also said, there was a prosthetic that sat in the makeup trailer that actually turned my stomach over. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see it, but it's incredible stuff. They really have an incredible effects team over there, and they're working overtime. Now, Gooding also said that he's most excited to work with original Scream starlet Neve Campbell in the upcoming sequel after not getting a great opportunity to work with her on Scream 5. And he says, I get to work with Neve in Scream 7, who I didn't get a great opportunity to see and talk to on a personal level. So in this case, even just getting to be around her feels like I'm getting part of that story, and I feel better for it. And I have to say, you want to know something? I don't really think he had any. If I can think far back to Scream 5, I don't think I don't think he had any scenes with her, because the only ones that really had scenes with her would, of course, be Courtney, because they've been working with each other since the beginning, and then it was Melissa and Jenna, and then of course at the end, the third act, the two killers. Mason pretty much was out of commission. Like, but by the time that Neve and him got to the house and all the stabations happened, he was already stabbed up in the yard, was presumed dead. So, if you're not in the shot, you're not in the scene. Like, I mean, he's not on call that day. So all the scenes that feature Neve, I don't believe that Mason actually got to be there. So with him saying this, I think that's pretty cool. I know I've heard a lot of people sit up in here and say that they believe that, oh, he's going to be the one that is the opening kill. I do not believe that. I'm like, number one, y'all done rocked his behind twice in two separate movies, and he lived. More so than, the way y'all was stabbing up Dewey, and then y'all kind of like up the ante with him. I'm just like, no, there's no way that y'all gonna do that to him, because that would be the most dumbest thing. I think that would be just stupid. Is that y'all stab him up? He got tag team in Scream 6 with the killers, with the stabation of him. But then y'all gonna kill him off in the opening act? Like, that would be the dumbest thing, under the sun. So I really believe that what's gonna happen is, because we lost the other two, which would be Melissa and Jenna, they have bumped up Mason and Jasmine as more or less the co-leads of, since they're legacy cast, I believe they're going to be given more to do in this one. I don't want to say they're like the leads, whatever, because I don't necessarily know the level of how much is a lot of people going to be involved. There's been a lot of casting news, so I don't even know how many scenes a lot of people's going to have. But he said he's filmed a lot, so I do believe that he does have a much bigger role in the film, and I'm hoping so. As far as like Kevin Wilson, yeah, he doesn't have a lot of director experience. He has written the film, so he understands the DNA of the franchise. I'm hoping that he did have some sort of input in the script, because it doesn't make sense. Like, if Kevin Williamson's voice understands and is the DNA of the Scream franchise, why wouldn't you ask his input? Why would he just be there looking at, figuring out the scenes and directing and all that other stuff? He should have. I would be like, I'd just be like a ghostwriter, in the sense of, I'm giving a little input. Let's tighten this up a little bit. Oh, wait, why don't we just change this dialogue? This is not something Sydney would say. This is something she would say, because he created her. But no, Courtney, I mean, with Gail wouldn't do that. Gail wouldn't say that. So let's change this up. So I do feel like they're not saying it, but he does. Well, at least in my spirit, I feel it. I don't have this as fact, or I don't know this for certain. But I feel like that he has injected a little bit of his DNA into this movie. So at certain points, I'm like, okay, now that definitely sounds like, because there were some issues I had with the writing in Scream 5 and 6, and the third acts in both films kind of irritated me. Although I will say, The chick that was in oh my god, what's her name? The one that was the one that killed Dewey. I do feel like she was a damn good Ghostface. The way she was acting her ass off, which is why I understand why she getting Oscar nominations and stuff. So Mikey Madison. So I like Mikey Madison and the part that she played in that film. So yeah, this is what we're hearing so far. But to answer the whole question about him and the whole brutal thing, haven't we had this conversation before? Like whenever we've had Scream movies in the past, they've been like, "Oh, this is the most brutal he's ever been. Oh, this is the most brutal he's ever been." I'm like, "Child, we've heard this song already. Can y'all skip to track 3? I'm tired of hearing track 2 because we've heard y'all say this is the most brutal. Y'all said that in Scream 6, and don't get me wrong, there was certain scenes in Scream 6 that I was like, okay, it was a bit brutal. Like, shout out to Annika. The way she went out, I was like, damn, I know that had to hurt when she fell during that crazy ass scene. And I feel like the person who had the most brutal death scene. Oh my god, what was the girl's name in Scream 4 who was friends with Kirby and oh my gosh, and Sydney's niece. The girl that was next door, she was getting stabbed up and all that blood was all over the room. And then Sydney went and ran next door and was trying to get up in there. Like her friend, she got the brutal kill too. And let's not forget about Casey Becker. Casey Becker definitely got the brutal kill. They even at one point even cut out how brutal that scene was, especially when they had her hanging from the tree in front of her house with her guts hanging out. Although there are some sequences where if there's certain versions, and I believe I have it on cassette. That's how far back I go with Scream. Because when we used to go rent movies from Blockbuster, you could literally go and you would just record the movie to a cassette tape. So I do remember like when I had the version which you see the guts spilling out. Whereas now the other versions that you would get, it was so like just be hanging. So they edited it around a little bit. But so yeah, for the most part, I'm excited for the film. I'm still a little nervous about what they plan on doing with Scream in regards of it does feel a little bit uncertain. So what I will do is I'm just going to sit and wait until this film comes out, and I will determine for myself if it was worth the wait, and if it was just a lot of internet talk that we should just kill the noise and just wait and see until this film comes out and we come up to our own conclusion. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Do you believe what Mason is saying that this might be the most brutal Ghostface we've ever seen? And they have some pretty gnarly prosthetics that they're going to be coming up with in regards of certain characters they're going to be killing, in that whole situation. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, let's go into some comments. Cleveland agrees. He said, "Oh, yes, he is, child." I was like, Mason Good and child, that boy can get it. And then Robert did imply he said that his character is gonna be bisexual in the upcoming Scream movie. I'm like, I don't know where you heard that from, but if they do play into that whole situation, I am here for it. You said that would do the Gracie Abrams or Benson Boone story. Wait, what's going on with Gracie Abrams and Benson Boone? I mean, I know that there was a story about Benson Boone he was like a professional diver or something when he was younger. I remember hearing that story. If you're talking about the crotch grab, we did that already, the apology, but I haven't heard anything in regards of Benson Boone. I did see something in passing about Gracie Abrams, but I didn't pay attention to see what that story was. Not to see dead people. Wrong movie. That's a Shamalama Ding Dong film. But I got what you were saying. The creator of Deadpool said no more movies under the Marvel ownership, calls both Ryan and Kevin Feige bullies and not respectful to the creators. Are we talking about what's his name? Tim somebody? Let me check. Why are you sending me this Elton John mess? I can't stand her. Oh, Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld will no longer work with Marvel after Deadpool and Wolverine premiere indignities. Well, look, they talking about that. I feel like it's only a matter of time before all this stuff comes out. in regards of Ryan Reynolds and that whole nice guy persona is basically an act, and that's not necessarily how he is. Because, and I believe every word, because they're talking about that, yeah, but this whole thing with Blake Lively, that is definitely is going to put it in jeopardy. And there was a story, speaking of Blake Lively, that I was going to do today, but I'm going to save it for tomorrow. It was about the fact that she has another movie about to come out with Anna Kendrick, and they saying that those two are feuding. I'm like, well, goddamn. They said Mikey got a Nora because of Scream 5 performance. Yeah, she was definitely, she acted her ass off in that third act before her ass got set on fire. Yeah, I definitely miss Blockbuster. I always wanted to work in there. And I went for an interview one time, but I messed it up because they was like, "Can you work weekends?" And I think I messed up, meaning to say yes when I said no. And then they were like, "Okay, well, you're good. You can go." Or whatever. And I realized that, yeah, your weekends are definitely what is needed to work in a video store. So I always wanted to be one of those kids because a movie fan that I wanted to work in a video store. Never got the opportunity, but I did get to work for AMC, which was a much better job. And all the awesome people I actually met working with them. My mom did that. She recorded. Yeah, child, we all did it. We all sat there with two VCRs. You had the one to play and then the one to record. And then you just basically, you could put like 3 movies on one blank cassette, one VHS, and then, just watch whatever movies. I remember that was the first time when I had Scream. When we had Scream and I kept being nosy, I kept trying to like sneak a peek at the movie while it was recording because the TV was on. And this is when I was a kid. And so the thing was recorded, and I kept trying to turn on the TV and decide to see parts. And so that was the part where I saw Casey was on the grass and she being stabbed, and then she got she need one of the killers in the nuts. I don't know which one it was. Who was the one did they both take turns on her, or was it just one? Because I'm like, who's the one that actually stabbed her up? Was it Stu, or was it Billy Loomis? Anyway. Okay, so now let's get into this story before we get to the 50 Cent story, I definitely want to give a shout out to the Lorenzo family because, Irv Gotti's real last name was Lorenzo. He passed away yesterday at the age of, how old was he? 54. I think he had like a series of strokes. And this is a sidebar. I just found out like there's a lot going on. So I feel like a lot of people definitely take care of your health. Like I found out because my mother and my sister ended up going to LA, which had me freaking out because, with all these plane crashes and stuff that was going on, I was nervous because I was like, now they got to fly back. Her, my grandmother, and it's like 3 different generations of women I'm worrying about that's not going to make it back because of this idiot in the damn White House and that fool over there who's running the transportation company who used to be on freaking The Real World, um, getting groped and had his nipples licked by Montana. Remember that season when he was up in there in his underwears? And yeah, Montana crazy behind up there licking on his nipples. He was on Real World Boston. If y'all didn't know, I'm taking y'all back. Yeah, the person that's running the transportation company that replaced Pete Booty Plug used to be on, The Real World. Everybody gotta get a start somewhere, right? But anyway, so I'm sitting here freaking out, worrying about that and all this other stuff because my uncle, come to find out, they said he had that thing that's going around where they talking about with the chickens and all the other stuff that's getting all sick, and that's why people worrying about the eggs and all this other stuff. So apparently he was sick from that. They said it wasn't asthma, and it wasn't, because my uncle has asthma and all other stuff. So it wasn't that followed by a heart attack. But I think when they were trying to revive me, I had a heart attack. First of all, I also heard that that my uncle's thing was a shit show. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. So yeah, I was sitting there worrying about all of that. And then now we hearing about Irv Gotti passing away because he's having, strokes. And then I'm hearing Matt Penfield, who, used to be an MTV VJ, had a bunch of damn strokes. So the point of this is men of a certain age, once you hit that 45-year mark, this is definitely the time we need to get our behinds into, the hospital, get our checkups. If you feeling a way about something, don't ignore it. Go to the doctor, have them check it out because you may not make it. So just be out here taking care of yourself. So basically, that long-winded thing I had to say was to tell y'all, take care of your butts. So, with all that being said, from I had heard yesterday, they said that he was on life support. And then I think within an hour, because I was trying to be nice about it, I said, by Friday, I think they basically was pronounced him dead. But child, we didn't even make it to 24 hours before they actually made the announcement. And so, yeah. And I know people feel a way about Irv, and rightfully so, especially, the way that he treated Ashanti. If y'all seen many interviews from her in the past, where she talked about how he was real mean and selfish to her and the things that he did, we could put all that to the side to acknowledge the fact that, you know what, during his time of running Murder Inc. and everything that Irv Gotti had did, that he was a prominent staple in the hip hop game. So we got to give people their props and not always be so quick to just, well, fuck him because da 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 da. And so we could appreciate the things that people have done, but also call them out of the other mess as well. So yeah, they said according to the Hollywood Reporter, a cause of death has not been confirmed, although sources say tells Variety that he had suffered a series of strokes in recent months. Now, throughout his career, Gotti, who was born Irving Domingo Lorenzo Jr. Child, you Dominican? You got a lot of names. And they said was a mastermind executive and record producer who shaped the sound of mainstream music at the turn of the century. With his Murder Inc. label, he dominated radio and charts by bridging the divide between pop and rap, serving as a marketing guru and at the time one of hip hop's most influential figures. Beyond his success as an executive, you got to also realize that, yeah, he definitely, and look, say what you want, and I know y'all like to throw shade on her singer voice, but guess what? He did give Jennifer Lopez a lot of bops, including, well, some of them was written by Ashanti and did feature a couple of her vocals and, on the background and stuff, which they always do when it comes to music, especially if you're using demos and things. But, when he gave us songs like, the Murder remix of I'm Real, Ja Rule's Always on Time, and Fat Joe's What's Love. And then what's that other song? When they go, yo, hips, yo, I love it when you kiss me, baby. That was my shit, bitch. When I tell you I used to live for that damn song. But anyway, so they also said that, and of course, I got to shout out Queens because that's where I'm from. First of all, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, but Queens was where I resided as I was growing up. So basically, he got his start in the music industry as a DJ and producer with early credits on Jay-Z's Can I Get a Woot Woot? And then Foxy Brown's Hotspot. He served as an EP on DMX's groundbreaking 1998 album Is Dark and Hell Is Hot and the soundtrack for the 1998 film Belly, prompting music exec Leor Cohen to give him his own label under the Def Jam umbrella. And when I tell you I used to run that damn Belly soundtrack into the ground. The movie wasn't that good, but I was living for Hype Williams and all the color palettes that he was doing throughout that movie. And shout out to Terrell Hicks, because I love me some Terrell Hicks back when she was in A Bronx Tale. That's how far back I go with her. But she was in that movie too. And then you had Nas was in it, and a bunch of other people. So that was it was a film. It did what it did, but it wasn't that good of a movie, quiet as it's kept. But it was good for for hip hop. So now, following his tenure as an AR at Def Jam, Gotti co-founded Murder Inc. with his brother Chris Gotti in 1998 and released Ja Rule's debut album, Veni Vidi Vici, the following June, which I actually have that CD in storage somewhere. That album became a massive smash for both Ja Rule and Gotti, who EP'd the album and helmed every song on the project. Now, Murder Inc. swiftly emerged as a turn of the millennial answer to Diddy Bad Boys Records, with Gotti appearing in music videos and popping up on records. In October of 2000, Ja Rule released Rule 336, and Gotti returning as EP for the project and acting producer for nearly the entire album. The project ushered in a mainstream renaissance for Gotti, who signed Ashanti the following year and released her eponymous chart-topping debut in 2002. He then took a victory lap where Irv Gotti Presents the Ink, a compilation record showcasing artists from the label, including Charlie Baltimore, Vita, and Cadillac Top. Don't, child, you ain't got to tell me, because I will tell you this. I was a big fan of Murder Inc. and a lot of the music they was putting out. So all these CDs and stuff that they mentioning, I was definitely up in the store buying it. Whatever happened to Charlie Baltimore? Remember, she was another one of Biggie's mistresses. That was the only thing I always knew about her. And then Vita was all right, but her career ain't really pop either. Now, Murder Inc.'s vice grip on mainstream music slipped after federal agents raided its offices on suspicion of drug money laundering in January of 2003 and took a reputational hit after Ja Rule engaged in a career of bruising beef with 50 Cent. Gotti rebranded the label as The Inc. in December 2003, releasing albums with Lloyd and Ashanti in the years that followed. Shout out to Lloyd. I know he's still out here playing his music and ain't bothering nobody. Yet after signing to Universal Motown in 2006, Gotti's label struggled as artists started leaving the imprint. In September 2013, he rebranded the Inc. as Visionary, and 4 years later revived Murder Inc. in a partnership with 300 Entertainment. In June of 2022, he shared a video on Instagram claiming that he signed a $300 million deal with brand management company Iconoclast to sell them 50% of his Murder Inc. masters. Last year, Gotti suffered a minor stroke related to his years-long struggle with diabetes. Now, during his appearance on Drink Champs, he described how diabetes starts deteriorating your body and said that he used insulin from time to time, but noted that he did not have his diabetes under control. Well, the one thing that's definitely important is that you got to have that diabetes under control. So if you're somebody who does not have their diabetes under control and you're sitting here saying that you only use insulin from time to time, until you get that diabetes under control, you have to use your insulin until the doctors say, okay, you've got it under control. Now we can wean you off of it. But people need to understand, and this is why I was saying before, it is definitely important that people get out there and start taking care of their health and stop just brushing it off like, oh, it's whatever. And then you end up in the situation you in. Now you out here having a series of strokes, and it probably will be diabetes related. Now, speaking of 50 Cent, 50 Cent felt the need to go on social media and start popping mess in regards of, trolling Irv Gotti because he had heard about him being sick. So he was basically blasted for making fun of Irv on Instagram after the music producer's death, including some commenters who said he was gonna hell for the brutal comment, which we've been saying that 50 going to hell. And look, this is the same person that don't have nothing to do with his biological son. So, I think is his firstborn. So if you basically turn your back on your own kid, or is, I don't necessarily know the relationship with all the children he has, with all the different women he has relationships with, but if he's going to be that cold to his own flesh and blood, makes you think he gives a damn about how he treats Irv Gotti. There's always going to be a special side of Hades that he'll be sitting his black ass on. So the rapper, who's been caught up in a bit of feud with Gotti over 20 years, posted a tasteless tribute to the entertainment executive after he died at age 54. Now, Curtis decided to share a photo on Wednesday of himself smoking a hookah while seated on a couch next to a tombstone that read RIP. And I do have the picture because I got to come with the receipt. And that's basically the picture that his foul ass went and took. Now, he said with the following, I'm smoking on that Gotti pack, and said, nah, God bless him, LOL. He also shared a photo of Gotti in the post, making it clear he was indeed referring to the late Murder Inc. co-founder. And 50, you sitting up here thinking that shit's funny. First of all, them hookahs, them vape pens, all of that stuff that y'all out here using, worse than cigarettes. So, y'all thinking it's cute or whatever to be out here smoking them damn hookahs and all that other mess? When you wind up with a third of your lungs burned to a damn crisp and you having all kinds of respiratory issues, don't say I didn't warn you. That's why I don't no longer mess with that. Because I used to be up in them clubs, in the Dominican, clubs or whatever, or in the homosexual clubs where they do allow hookah smoke. I don't do that no more. After I started hearing about what the hookah does to your lungs, it's like it's cute when you're doing it, but and I be liking them flavored ones, but I was like, nope. I like my lungs a little too much, especially with all the talking I do on these shows. I need my lung capacity. So now some IG users were not pleased about the post, and one wrote the following. They said, there's a special place in hell for you. The fact that you came so close to facing death yourself and you still have this mindset is beyond me. Oh yeah, because remember, he was once pow-powed 9 times. Well, first of all, that person that did that to him wasn't a good damn shot. Because how you survive 9 shots? But then again, that's the same thing we can say about Chad Meeks Martin in Screams 5 and 6. How you survive all them stabations? So yeah, the social media user was seemingly referring to when 50 had been, well, we already know what happened, because why am I even referring to it? Because it says it in the article, but I just told y'all what had happened. Now, another person wrote, only a devil would mock death. Every soul will die. A different Instagram commenter said, one thing about cancers, they will sit and wait on the ultimate petty card. That kind of makes me wonder, sidebar, what the hell is Tyra Sanchez's sign? Because remember when the Vivian passed? And this heifer came out and made a comment on social media, and they dragged his behind down to the floor over that comment. Oh, you sitting on something that was like a couple of years ago that somebody wrote to you on social media, and you waited to this moment to comment. That bitch probably a damn cancer herself. So what else was said? Okay, so then another person said, very, very, very slow, but be careful how you treat people. History doesn't delete itself. Fellow rapper Bobby Shmurda replied, yo, this thing is crazy, son. Meanwhile, the cause of Gotti's death is currently unknown. And then we already talked about the minor stroke situation and then his whole diabetical situation as well. So yeah, we got a couple of the tweets in here where y'all could see some of the comments that a lot of people saying. Is there another one? Oh yeah, that one was already posted. I like this one. Somebody put, and I was like, well, why did I think of that? What a cornball. Because I'm sitting there like, oh, that's clever the way they was doing like the emojis, a corn and then a ball, cornball. I was like, okay, that cuts right to the chase instead of us having to run our mouths about it. Um, what else did the people was saying? Another person said, we all meet the grave champ. This corny. Another person said, this is wrong. Another person said, at least he said, God bless him. Girl, really? Oh, what you saying? Best we gonna get? I guess, yeah, from somebody who's petty as hell. And then this ding ding goes and say, y'all can always unfollow him. Simple. Well, here's the thing. How's that the answer? Like, well, you can always unfollow him. It's just as simple as that. First of all, I don't follow his ass, but this is making the rounds, and as somebody who is a media pundit, I gotta talk about it. But then everybody else is like, maybe people just know that, well, it's expected that 50 is going to be petty. But I don't think people were expecting this level of petty to come from him, that you would stoop this low. But here's the thing. When y'all sit up here and y'all cackle and y'all kiki and think it's real funny that 50 comes out and says all the things that he says, what makes you think that he has a bottom, that he has a rock bottom or a low, that he won't stoop? We're in this era now of just, people out here just saying all kinds of stuff, and they're just going to keep digging down to the earth's crust to their amount of petty and shade. There's no guardrails at this point. So why would anybody be surprised that 50 would have some kind of decorum? So I definitely feel what he was saying in regards to this. And I just think like nobody should be surprised by what 50's saying. So I ask all of you, what do you think of this story? Y'all shocked that 50 would go this low, speaking ill of the dead, and his body ain't even been cold yet. And here you go out here throwing shade at somebody who you didn't get along with in the music business. It's like you making all your money. You're successful in your own right in so many other ways. I just don't understand the level of people who still sit around and hold grudges and be petty and stuff. Like I don't allow that energy to reflect me because I'm secure with who I am. So this just feels like it's a level of insecurity on 50's part that he has to continue to do stuff like this because he's just a damn troll. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Vincent Boone texting a hater about comparing him to Harry Styles and said he was a flop. Gracie condemned. Oh, you my mom. And said young people shouldn't be learning about it. Um, Here's the thing. Since the March of Dimes, people have always learned, well, since porn was invented, people have always taken their cues in porn, unfortunately, because a lot of men tend to think that that's, what they see in porn is how you treat people during sex. But here's the thing, because I was just watching this thing on The View where I forget who it was, but they were talking about something or another to do with sex. I'm trying to remember the exact person. That is neither here nor there. But the way that some of them women up there was acting, especially prude ass Sunny damn Hostin. She getting my damn nerves the way she be acting. Well, her pompous ass. But when it comes to, well, I don't want to, I don't, it's not in her wheelhouse to talk about sex with her kids. Well, they're gonna learn it from somewhere. Um, why is it that I can't sit and you have to learn it from somewhere. So if your parents are not going to talk to you about it, what you thinking you need to learn it from your friends? Do you need to learn it from a total stranger? Do you learn it from porn? Like, where do you learn it from? Because if they learn the wrong things and then you wind up with a kid coming up in your house at 14, 15, 16 with a baby, what we going to do? A bunch of woulda, coulda, shouldas? Woulda, coulda, shoulda don't raise a kid. So it's best that even though it's uncomfortable because we live in a society, especially in America, which is not as religious as they want that to be the main thing. But when we come up in a time where like when you work in a religious household, whatever, and you were taught to be ashamed of sex, ashamed of your body, ashamed of nudity, ashamed of like if you get aroused, when these are all natural things, sex is a natural thing too. So it should be had a conversation to be had. I remember how I learned. My mother sat me, my brother, and my sister down in the living room, got us up, went to the library. Shout out to the Brooklyn Public Library in Grand Army Plaza. Went to the library, into the educational system. This is why I love the era I grew up in, because you didn't have a lot, but it just seemed like people were more open, I guess, in certain ways about certain things. But my mother went and got a VHS tape. It was animated of like new, the male and the female anatomy and sex and all the other stuff, and sat us down and we sat there and watched it. And that's how we learned about the birds and the bees. If we had any questions, she was open to telling us. So that was the way I learned. And you don't see me out here with kids and diseases and all kinds of other stuff, because I was aware of sex and all the things that was going on. And then, as you get older, when we were learning about HIV and AIDS and all the other things, I learned from other people who were older, who understood that world, especially when it came to talking about the homosexual life. You had to learn about how men are and all that other stuff. And I learned from a lot of my older homosexual friends. So when you have enough people in your life that are there to try to help you out, that's the way you learn. So I don't understand how she coming out here, because how her ass learned. Or was her father so busy out here making Alias and all them damn movies and stuff, he ain't had time to teach her about nothing. So um this one went and speaking of Benson Boone, and then we'll move on to the rest of the questions. I don't get the Harry Styles comparison. I never got that from him. Funny enough, when I look at Benson Boone literally looks like he's channeling Freddie Mercury, but with Aaron Taylor Johnson's looks. Because he looks like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I don't care what nobody says. Both good looking men. But he reminds me of Aaron Taylor Johnson. As far as like the way he presents himself, I get Freddie Mercury from him. And that's where Harry Styles gets his stuff from. But I think Harry Styles has been more or less compared to Mick Jagger, not necessarily Freddie Mercury. No shade. Harry Styles doesn't have the vocal range that Benson Boone does. The reason why Benson Boone is getting a lot of the comparisons to Freddie Mercury, because they're vocally they hit those high registers. They just do they do all that other stuff. So when it comes to Harry Styles, he does like that soft little vocal thing. He wears his little onesie outfit. So is that where the comparison's coming from? Because he walks around wearing, clothes that people would deem effeminate? Is that where the comparison is coming from? So I don't know. And look, just take it on the chin. Don't let these people get up under your skin, Benson. And people compare you to Harry Styles. At least you doing something. Where's Harry Styles at? Working on that next album? It's like he got that Grammy and just vanished. Is that why Madonna has Nas on her song? Probably. Well, you think because of Murder Inc. Because I know, like, well, I don't know. That could be the reason. Said Charlie Baltimore was the name of Gina. That's where she got it from. She got that name because of Gina Davis' character in The Longest Kiss Goodnight. Like when it comes to rappers, a lot of them always take from, you know, gangsters or serial killers or It's kind of like when you look at Marilyn Manson and Gidget Gein, taken from Ed Gein, Marilyn Manson, Marilyn Monroe, and Charles Manson. So, and then there was, so there were always characters, whenever they had people who were in that whole situation, they had those names. And same thing with rappers. You had the rapper Scarface. What do you think he got that name from? So, um, it was always, or, when you have, like, when we were talking about Irv Gotti, who do you think got the last name from? John Gotti, obviously. So that's a lot with the rappers. A lot of them like to take names from um, gangsters and things of that nature, and they embody that whole world because a lot of that generation grew up watching The Godfather and, all those type of films a little too damn much. Just watching her corn walk. Okay, but anyway, so where we going? Oh, child, let's get into Miss Wendy Williams. How you doing? So Wendy Williams is out here doing an interview, which I don't know why she decided to do another interview because this had me freaking out. So I'm sure you already heard that, or maybe you didn't hear. So she did. They said a judge had granted her permission to go see her father in Miami for his 94th birthday. Under one condition. Now, the condition that she could go over there to see her father for his birthday was that she had to stop speaking to the press about what's going on in her current case regarding her trying to get out of this guardianship. So what does Wendy do yesterday morning? Got her ass on that phone and decided to call Charlamagne over there at the Breakfast Club. And when I happen to just be on YouTube looking at her, I'm like, why am I getting this in my timeline again? Didn't she just do an interview last week? Like, why are we getting another? Why am I getting a recommendation for an interview I already saw, thinking it was old? Kind of find out it wasn't old; it was new. So I don't know if y'all heard the clip of what she went on there to talk about because she was talking about. She went and talked about a whole lot of stuff, but I think the interview was like I think about 20 minutes that she was on the phone. But she went on, called the Breakfast Club. She spoke about the conservatorship. She's talking about them filing a lawsuit against A&E last year, saying that Sabrina, wasn't privy to what was going on and stuff. Although I truly believe that's the only way that Wendy was going to be in agreement of doing the Where is Wendy Williams documentary. It had to go through the conservator, correct? Because everything has to go through you for it to be green lit, to get permission to go this place, that place, and the other place. So Sabrina had to have known what was going on. Also, Will Selby, her no good ass manager, who we saw in that damn video was not looking great. He had something to do with it too, because he was trying to get get her money by any means necessary. And Wendy was not in the right state of mind for her to be doing any kind of interviews, let alone a docuseries. And yet she went and did it, but she wasn't in the right state of mind because she was under the consummation of drugs, meaning alcohol. She was self-medicating, all that other stuff. And I'm sure that Will was out here like, you know what, I'm gonna just give you what you want as long as you give us what we want. We can make this money. I'm gonna feed you your medicine. Your medicine being them bottles of vodka you was drinking straight to the head with no chaser. That's old school. Because that's how I used to drink. I don't drink like that no more. But back in the day, I used to do the whole old school, take it to the head. I just don't understand this new generation. Y'all be up here talking about, oh, we do chasers. Chasers? The fuck is a chaser? I remember when I was in the circus, they was doing chasers because there was nothing else to do. So we was either drinking, fucking, because there was that too. And we were just chilling whatever because it was like nothing to do. The only fun we had when we was just like outside of New York, you had to go to Walmart. That was the great trip that we all look forward to. Because it was like when you sitting there on a lot all day, it gets boring. So yeah, we was out here self-medicating with the weed and the liquor. Look, I don't work for them no more, so I'm spilling all the damn tea and I don't give a good goddamn. So yeah, so that's what happened with that. But anyway, so let me go to the clip that we have. Shout out to the Shade Room because they had the clips and stuff. I didn't want to go directly to the Breakfast Club because then, they might flag us. But yeah, so I want y'all to hear what she had to say and then we'll come back and we'll talk. Please hold.
Everybody.
Hi, Wendy.
So look, I have some things to get off my chest.
Oh, that's what we do here. We have a segment called Get It Off Your Chest, actually.
That's right.
Perfect. Well, there's this lawsuit with Lifetime and A&E. And I've been told I stand to win $20 million.
Now,
And
what was the? Let's refresh people on what the lawsuit was. What was the lawsuit,
the
Lauren?
lawsuit was that 4-part thing starring me on TV, which I only watched once, and I will never watch again in life. It was disgusting. I was, to do that TV thing, it was 2 people who I won't say their names, but I can say 1 white woman and 1 black man.
Okay, and I read the court documents. You're talking about Sabrina Morrissey and Will Selby.
Anyway, they brokered, I don't know, a deal on behalf of me.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of deal? I have no idea. I guess the clothing. Hey, everybody.
Hi, Wendy.
The location, the money. The money is blood money. It's money I don't want. Charlamagne, you and I have known each other for a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Well, look, I'm dealing with these court people and my guardian person. And that is the big deal. So you know what? I don't have frontal temporal dementia. You know what I'm saying? It's disgusting. That is a very rare thing for anybody to have. I am not incapacitated. I am not a baby. You know what I'm saying? But I guess for Lifetime A&E, I stand to win all that money. So I'm supposed to be a blubbering idiot. You know what I'm saying?
So what you're saying, Wendy, is the lawsuit that was filed by Sabrina Morrissey, acting in her capacity as your guardian. She brought a lawsuit against A&E, and it claimed that the contract the company brokered to shoot the documentary wasn't valid. She's saying you didn't have the legal or mental capacity to authorize your participation. You're saying you did.
And that you met one time, and after that you changed your mind?
The location, the money, the money is blood money. It's money I don't want. Charlamagne, you and I have known each other for a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Well, look, I'm dealing with these court people and my guardian person. And that is the big deal. So you know what? I don't have frontal temporal dementia. You know what I'm saying? It's disgusting. That is a very rare thing for. Correct. And by the way, like I said, I don't want that kind of money. I've worked with Lifetime several times. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Enough that I would love to do something with Lifetime again. They are good people to me, and I'm good people to them.
Absolutely.
Correct. And by the way, like I said, I don't want that kind of money. I've worked with Lifetime several times. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Enough that I would love to do something with life.
Okay, so it just seems to be that I was so confused by that interview. It was like 1 minute she was just like, I agreed at first, but then I decided not to do it. But they had to get your permission. She signed the paperwork. And then Sabrina agreed and was appalled when she saw the finishing product, and Will agreed. So she's throwing them under the bus, but saying that Sabrina was shocked when she saw the docuseries. And I feel like once they've gotten all the permission, once the contracts are signed, how are you able to just back with them and be like, I don't want to do it anymore? There was never any inclination or any kind of sign that you didn't want to do it. Especially with Wendy being lonely and a lot of what was going on with her. Like, we saw like how alone she was and how lonely she was and how they would just leave her to her own vices for hours unattended. Like, where was the person that's supposed to be coming in and checking on her? And then of course she had a lot of these, she was in her most vulnerable at the time, and she was taken advantage of by a lot of these people. And I truly believe that Wendy was taken advantage of by Will Selby and a lot of them clowns that was up in there. But that ain't all. Because Sabrina, after she did this situation, this interview, Sabrina's out here like, okay, well, you say you don't have frontal temporal dementia, right? I'm calling her bluff. So she's basically requesting a new medical evaluation in a court filing hours after the former talk show host denied that she was incapacitated during an appearance on The Breakfast Club, where Wendy said she don't have frontal temporal dementia. Is disgusting. Now, the TV personality also spoke out against Morrissey's lawsuit against A&E television networks, Lifetime Entertainment, and other affiliates following the airing of the docuseries, Where is Wendy Williams? Now, in the papers filed on February 20th, 2024, Morrissey slammed the network's documentary, claiming that it shamelessly exploits Williams and portrays her in an extremely demeaning and undignified manner. Well, that's where she was at the time. So I don't know if they want to call it shameless exploitation, because she wouldn't have been shamelessly exploited. She would not have been shamelessly exploited if people were in her situation were doing what they needed to do. Yeah, she had the vultures, which would be Will, and that big back bitch, whatever her name was. What was the girl that was the one she told to get liposuction with all the big hair? You know, her taking her to LA without even informing people that she was doing that because she wanted to get Wendy drunk ass on a damn TV show. And she wasn't in no shape to be going to any kind of meeting trying to make a comeback on network television being the mess that she was in. Because we saw we saw the situation that she was in at the time. So how do people feel like, and now Sabrina up in here acting, oh my God, I didn't know they were going to be doing. I can't believe they had her looking at, like, she looks a mess. Can't believe it. Bitch, you supposed to be her conservator. You're not taking visits. You're not having people go over there to make sure that your client, the person you're supposed to be looking over their money and their affairs, is in a situation where they should be getting on the right track. And I feel like we're looking at Wendy now compared to the way she was on that show. And yes, she has it together. She's not drinking. She seems like she can, she can formulate a word. We get a little bit of that personality. Do I feel like that there's been some damage done to all the years of abuse that she's put on herself? Yes. I do not feel like Wendy is 110%. And I hate the fact that people out here trying to act, oh yeah, we can get her back on TV. Oh yeah, Wendy is back. But she's not. Now, there's parts of it I hear the Wendy coming out. But for someone who's been a Wendy Nista for over 3 decades and has followed her, that 100% Wendy Williams that we grew up loving and knowing, she's not all the way there. Now, do I feel like that she should be kept in a damn prison for the rest of her damn life? The way she's talking? No, I don't. But hopefully we can have people around her who genuinely care about her and want her best interests at heart. And hopefully that's her family. And that's what she wants to be with. So why not grant her that? Call her bluff, Wendy. Go ahead and you take the test and we'll see where, what the results are. And I'm hoping like, well, since you want to spill all the damn tea to the media and everybody else, then I feel like, you know what? No, we ain't going to stop with no longer talking to the press. I want to know how this show ends. I'm fully invested in this series. Don't cut it off don't cancel the show before we get to the finale. I know I got to use entertainment metaphors, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, if y'all gonna if you're gonna interject us, if you're gonna put us all in the damn group chat, and we're all genuinely concerned that we need to be free, then I want to know the results of this test when she takes this test. However test that you test someone on a frontal temporal dementia type situation. I don't know. My brain is fine, so I don't know what it takes to do this, but I want to know the results. So I don't know what's going to happen with this whole lawsuit. I don't know if Sabrina has it in, where she's actually going to win because she's worrying about Wendy's, situation. But I'm genuinely curious. But also, in case you guys are curious, remember this clip? Let me show y'all. This one right here. Well, apparently, this is a part of a series that's going to be on Tubi, I believe, on February 12th. I forget the name of the show. I think it's called Rescue Wendy Williams or something or another. So yeah, Harvey and them over at TMZ did this is why he said he wasn't going to really be saying nothing. Because yeah, you about to make, a little mint off of your own little interview with Wendy Williams. Shout out to the Neighborhood Talk for having this clip. And so we're going to play it in case y'all need to remember where they had her in a damn leotard in her window with her wig on and her lipstick pierced up against the glass like free Wendy Williams, crying over the fact that she's in this prison. So in case y'all don't see this clip, let me refresh your memory. Please hold.
Your dad is 34 in February, and he's up there in age, and I know you want to go to Miami to see him and celebrate his birthday because you don't know how many more there are going to be.
Right, exactly.
That must be important for you.
It's extremely important. It's extremely important to see my dad for his birthday, and that is a family thing. It's not just a me thing, I would wish that along with celebrating my dad's 94th birthday, that we as a family, we come together in peace and harmony. That's what I wish for my dad.
Okay, so just want to give you a little bit of that in case y'all didn't see that clip. So yeah, that is actually taken from a series that is about to appear on Tubi, excuse me, on February 12th. So that's next Wednesday. And the show is called Saving Wendy. It's a documentary that, yeah, because TMZ does their, you know how they do. Well, they did one on Diddy. They've done one on a couple of people. So now they're doing one on Wendy Williams. And I don't know. I don't even know. I'm on the fence. I don't know if I'm going to actually watch it. But I might take a gander just so I could have some kind of wherewithal of, do we learn anything new outside of her interviews with Don Lemon and The Breakfast Club and Jason Lee and all the other ones that she's had a chat with. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story in regards of Wendy Williams' guardian pushing for a new evaluation because she's out here claiming she does not have frontotemporal dementia and that she is not incapacitated? That, I always feel like people who do have issues where their brains are deteriorating, they have good days and they have bad days. The many times we probably heard Wendy, she's on her good days, but I would like to see someone who evaluates her for days and see how she manages throughout the days instead of just these moments that we're getting in an interview. And she sounds fine to me, so let her free. And it's like, there's a lot of channels and stuff that goes into that, but I hope that she definitely gets the closure that she needs, because I don't think that Wendy needs to be kept up in a damn prison. But once she gets out, I just hope that there won't be people out here who will pounce on her and take advantage, including her damn family. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, let me close these windows before we move on to the next, because we got another Wendy Williams story that's coming up soon. But I see we got comments, so let's get to them. I'm still waiting for the continuation of the Circus Chronicles. See, now Sailor Mermaid knows the tea, because I'm talking all the drama and stuff that was going on in the circus. Fun times were had. I kind of do miss it though. See, now here go Felix. She sound fine to me. Now I'm just playing. She does sound fine, and I feel like that, she has put in the work to get sober, because at the time she was a mess when we saw her in the Lifetime thing. But I feel like that she has done the work to get better, and it could have been because the court order thing when they put her in the facility where she had to be forced to sober up and take care of herself. And now that she is of sound mind, she's like, I'm good and I want to get out, because from what people were saying before is that her son and members of the family was trying to get her clean and get her to go vegan and get off the alcohol and stuff. And Wendy didn't want that. She wanted to run off and be around these other people. And those people that was protecting at the time were the enablers. Once they got her away from the enablers and she was forced into a situation where she was able to get right, now she's like, okay, I don't drink. I'm taking care of myself. Now I want to be let free. But it's like, okay, so we let you go. Then what? But at the end of the day, that's her decision. She's an adult. Why be holding people like they prisoners? The video of her on the phone last week made it look like she was a prisoner. And TMZ, they have they love being dramatic. So do you think young people should have access to porn? In my opinion, I do have some problems with it. Well, I don't. I do not think that young people should have access to that. I do feel like there needs to be restrictions on stuff. Well, especially with technology. When I was growing up, we didn't have internet when it came to adult stuff. When I was in high school, I used to take the bus and stuff. When middle school, high school, whatever, I used to take the bus to school. So not public transportation, like the yellow bus, big cheese bus, as we called it. But there was fun times. First of all, the kids on my bus there was this one kid, I forget, Mark. I used to have a crush on him too. But Mark used to always come on the bus with stacks of magazines of porn. I don't know if it was a member of his family, probably his dad, somebody had a big stack of adult magazines. And we used to always sit in the back and look at them. We see all kind of cootie cats and the cum and we saw everything. And gag, even the bus driver, who was like this white dude that has to have a mullet. It was the 90s. He would look at them too. I remember one time I did ask him if I could take some magazines home and I got caught. And it was me and I know I was a bad influence. It was me and my younger brother. We sit there looking at the porn and we had bunk beds. So we were sitting there looking at the stuff. And then I think my father, somebody opened the door and I had to beg him. I was like, no, this is actually one of my classmates. I have to give it back to them. And so I was able to have the magazines and I gave it back, but I didn't bring it back in the house. Actually, that's a lie. I got a little more clever with how I hid my stuff. So I feel like, so maybe the moral of this story is, you know what? Kids are going to find ways to see things that they're not going to see, that they shouldn't be permitted to see. But I feel like if that happens, because you can't control what your children do when they're outside your house. When they're in your house, you can tell them and do whatever it is that you want. But when they're out in the street, I feel like parents, you just got to provide your kid. Because remember, we all once upon a time were those kids. So I would think that provide your kids with the tools that they need so that when they go out in the world, they're going to get into some mess, how to protect themselves. So, yeah, when it comes down to the adult cinematography things, I do feel like, no, kids should not have access to it, but they're going to find ways of seeing it, be it, they searching for it on someone else's stuff, or they hang out with people who will expose them to it. And that's how I saw it. I was exposed to adult stuff from kids I was hanging out with. He said, and porn does create a fantasy that women and homosexual men have to look and act. So absolutely. Sidebar, did y'all watch? Are y'all familiar with this podcast, this YouTuber by the name of Matt Cullen? Did y'all see his video that he did at the gay VMs? I was cackling because it was the most awkward set of interviews I've ever seen. I was like, what is going on? And you're not even a porn connoisseur, and you didn't even know those people, having the people up there that you was interviewing. But it was entertaining, the fact that he went in blind and he didn't really know a lot of the people. And was asking them questions. Like, he spoke to LeGrand Wolf. I did find it, although it wasn't a shocker, the fact that Lexi Love went as Boomer Banks's date. I'm like, he stay always, attaching himself to the latest Drag Race girl. As far back as I can tell you that he was doing that was Cameron Michaels, but he always does that with a lot of the queens. Every season, he got a new girl he latch on to. And it's no shade, I'm just saying. But you say, have you watched Scamanda? Who's that? About a lady who told everyone she had cancer and scammed people out. There's always some scam artists out here doing some stunts. People need to understand that teens are going to discover porn and sex regardless. The more you restrict, the more absolutely. And that's the problem, is that once you attach a shame or a stigma to something, not saying that we should be out here applauding kids looking at the stuff, but I just read Roro's comment. That's why I got distracted. So it was like, I agree with that. And I was one of those kids that was being sneaky. Potential outcome and consequences. We need to be realistic about dealing with these conversations and stop being delusional. Yeah, that's why I haven't really been watching it as of late. But yeah, when I watched it was like but I did watch the one when he went to Tokyo and he was interviewing the go-go dancers out there. Shout out to some of them. I was like, the Asian boys. Well, first of all, I used to always hang out in this gay Asian club in New York, the only one we had, called the Web. Oh my God, the boys that they had them in there, I lived. But then we didn't have anymore. That's where I met Jiggly before she was on Drag Race. So it was like, I used to love that spot. And then it was like, with me and my friend, because he had a car, we would always, like, on Mondays, because that was one of my friends actually danced there. So we would actually go to that bar on Mondays and we would just have a kiki. It wasn't that busy in there, but we had the best of times because it was like I knew all the dancers and stuff, so I would just hang out with them. So, but yeah, I do agree with that. When you say his channel is taking a kind of a dark turn, I don't know. Is it because he's dating Sloan? Maybe you need to dump him, because he might be affecting your chi in regards to you doing this show. Yeah, he doing that YouTuber. I don't like him. Ever since I found out they was dating, I was like, you kind of turned me off. And you can have a relationship. I just don't like the way certain other pundits move in this industry and the way they be acting. But so we just but anyway, where else are we going? Okay, let's talk about, we got another Wendy Williams story where Meek Mill is now speaking out. I don't know why people call him Meek Mills. Is that a black thing where it's like we always got to add an S to somebody? It's Meek Mill. They'd be like Meek Mills. So anyway, so Meek Mill's out here spilling tea and basically said that when he and Wendy lived in the same building, because with her right now denying that she has frontotemporal dementia and all the other stuff, he said he would often see her in a daze. Here you go snitching. So the Dreams and Nightmares rapper hopped on the Twitter to respond to a clip of TMZ interviewing Williams about her guardianship, which prompted Meek to share a photo he took of the talk show host sitting in the lobby of their building. See, now I should have just saved that damn clip of Wendy Williams when we were just talking about that situation. And here I went and closed it. Well, no, we got it. Because, I'm doing 2 different segments. So we're going to play it again. Because I was like, separate segments. I'm going to give y'all the clip. So for those of you who need a refresher, even though I just showed y'all like 10 seconds ago, we're going to play it again. Nope, that's not it. There it is. Please hold.
Your dad is 34 in February, and he's up there in age. And I know you want to go to Miami to see him and celebrate his birthday because you don't know how many more there are going to be.
Right, exactly.
That must be important for you.
It's extremely important. It's extremely important to see my dad for his birthday, and that is a family thing. It's not just a me thing, I would wish that along with celebrating my dad's 94th birthday, that we as a family, we come together in peace and harmony. That's what I wish for my dad.
Okay, so now, after that, Meek took to the Twitter and shared the following. So, he said, this has been going on for a minute. I lived in the same building as her 2023. I used to think to myself, like, why is Wendy Williams sitting in the lobby iced out alone in a daze? And it don't look right when she's getting picked up on guard. So, I'm guessing based off of what he was saying was that she was just left in the lobby of her building to her own device. Nobody's looking out for her. Nobody's paying attention to her. And basically saying that I guess it don't look right when she's getting picked up. So like who was coming to the building to pick her up and where was she going? And back in 2023, was this around the time, see, this is the part where the math and the timeline and all this stuff got to come in. Was this when she was being managed by Will Selby? And was this when she was having the wrong people around her before she ended up in the conservatorship? So this kind of makes me wonder, like with Meek is speaking on this when they lived in the same building, was it when she was under, surrounding herself with the wrong people? So then they also said, well, we already spoke about this already. So they said, according to TMZ, a judge has since permitted Williams to go to Miami to see her father, which I forgot to mention in the previous story when we were talking about her going on the Breakfast Club after she was permitted by the judge, that she says, oh yeah, you have permission to go see your dad under the condition that you no longer speak to the press. However, she went off and days later seemed like she went and spoke to the Breakfast Club, which I'm wondering if that's a violation of a court order. And Charlamagne did ask her in so many ways, are you going to still be able to go see your father? Like, does this put because he didn't say like, does you violating the whole situation, you speaking to the Breakfast Club, does that put you going to see your dad in any kind of jeopardy? She didn't, so that's not the way he put it. He was just like, are you still going to go see your father? Because I would think that, okay, well, her speaking over there, that is a huge risk. And I know, Charlamagne, with you having them 2 broads sitting up there with you on that show who be telling you the news and the gossip of what's going on, because you be acting like you completely oblivious at times, that this was a conversation that was brought up. So I'm sure you were aware. I understand you might be trying to help your friend, but I hope this is not you also trying to help the ratings of your show by putting what Wendy's doing at risk of talking to you. But when he asked her, she basically was just like, well, I don't want to talk about it. So I don't even think we know if she's still been granted or if they had a conversation and said, well, guess what? You're not going. I don't know. All we know now is the latest story of Sabrina challenging her on saying that she does not have frontal temporal dementia and she is not incapacitated. So now we're at a point where it's just like, okay, so now the next thing for her is to get this test so that way it can be proven that A, the doctors did not just pull some diagnosis out of their ass and said that she doesn't have it. And then we'll just have to take it from there. So Wendy went on and said that she's been courting assistance since 2022. That's when Wells Fargo froze her bank accounts and petitioned for financial guardianship as her health began to deteriorate. Williams, was diagnosed with Graves' disease in 2018 and diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia and frontotemporal dementia in 2023. Now, a court-assisted New York lawyer, Sabrina Morrissey, the court assigned, New York lawyer Sabrina Morrissey to become Williams's guardian. Morrissey later sued Lifetime at A&E over claims guarding their docuseries Where is Wendy Williams. So it just feels like I have more questions than answers in this situation. Like I just feel like I don't know if maybe my brain is having a hard time compute all of this, or it's just there's so many layers and so much going on that it's just like I feel like my brain is fried. Like I'm me sitting there trying to understand all the legalities behind all of this and what's going on with Wendy and how we can get her out of this situation. Does she have frontal temporal dementia? Is she incapacitated? Because like I said, a lot of times when people equate people being incapacitated, we look at it as somebody who is just complete invalid, who laying in the bed, brain coming out, seeping out of their ears, and drool coming out of their mouth. Like that's, I think, what people equate being incapacitated with. But there's so many different levels of incapacitated, meaning that you probably cannot fend and take care of yourself. Maybe that's what that means. Maybe they need to do a better job of trying to break it down to the people, since she running off and telling everybody her business and trying to gain sympathy and empathy, which she definitely deserves. Then I think maybe on the other side, people need to come out and really have the conversation about this. And hopefully, with TMZ and their upcoming documentary on Saving Wendy, that's supposed to be coming on Tubi on the 12th of February, that maybe they bring some people in that can break down based off of the conversations they've had with Wendy, and they'll bring up like how we can make sense of all of this. Because yes, I feel like I'm even more confused than before. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think in this story in regards to Meek Mill coming out? Speaking of which, I think Meek Mill, you need to be a little more to the point on what you were trying to say with this too, because you're coming across as vague in your opinion in this as well. And with all that hood talk that you was up in there saying, this been going on for a minute. I lived in the same building as her 2023. I used to think to myself, why is Wendy Williams sitting in the lobby iced out alone in a daze, and it don't look right when she getting picked up on God? Like, I understand some of it, but I'm like, girl, what are you saying? So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, let's move on. And let's talk about the backlash that Amy Schumer is getting for her latest movie. Because everybody out here is saying Amy Schumer's movie is god awful. So for better or worse, Amy Schumer is a divisive figure. It seems borderline impossible to read about her online without bumping into people who either glow about her comedy or dislike it intently. And the release of her new movie, Kinda Pregnant, on Netflix is faring no different. So yeah, a lot of people are going and saying this movie is unfunny, it's horrible. Why they keep giving her movies to be a part of? I don't know. I don't know who's what knee pads to what meeting she. But then again, why is anybody surprised? Netflix, I think we could probably count on less than 5 fingers actual good movies that Netflix has been behind that was memorable and worth watching. Because a lot of times their movies are just not good at all. So the comedy, which debuted on Netflix on Wednesday, received a bevy of pans on Twitter from its earliest viewers. The scathing reactions included plenty of pans for its star, Schumer, who's 43, who also co-wrote the film. That's probably why it's not funny as well. She wrote it. Oh, Adam Tandem writing the script. The comedian and actress who donned a pink cape gown at the Kinda Pregnant premiere in New York on Monday stars in the film as Lainey Newton, a woman who begins wearing a fake pregnant belly in a fit of jealousy brought on by her friend's new pregnancy. But her prank, which attracts plenty of admiration and special treatment from strangers, threatens to backfire when she meets the man of her dreams while still pretending to be pregnant. In addition to co-writing Kinda Pregnant with Julie Paiva, Schumer produced the film alongside, here we go, Adam Sandler. Why am I not surprised that Adam Sandler's hands is all over this? I mean, and quiet as it's kept, I used to love me some Adam Sandler. He ain't been funny in a month of Sundays either, which is why I'm a little nervous that we're getting a Happy Gilmore too. Can't I just enjoy the first one? Because I do not think Happy Gilmore 2 is going to actually be a good movie, but we'll see when it comes out. Now, one viewer blasted the movie as so funny, it's like watching a documentary on paint drying. They added, critics are saying it's groundbreaking because it's the first time laughter was replaced by existential dread. Another viewer was even more direct in their criticism. Said, Kinda Pregnant is the worst film I've ever watched in my entire life. Worse than Rebel Moon 2, The Scar Giver? Because that was painful. That was a movie that was god-awful. So, and we've seen worse on Netflix. So I'm like, really? Okay. Now, comedian and actor Kevin Hart even managed to catch a stray amid all the pain. Well, child, you already know Kevin. It never a dull moment when you talk about Unfunny and people like Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish don't catch a stray in the midst of the existential dread and unfunniness of a particular comedian, especially if we talk about Amy Schumer. So this person said, Kinda Pregnant isn't off to a great start. Amy Schumer is Kevin Hart funny, as in not funny. Now, another person poked fun at the absurd plot of the film while also singling out a ridiculous reaction. Saying the best review I've seen of that terrible movie, Kinda Pregnant, is someone saying it's yet another story of someone pretending to be pregnant, so I get that it's relatable. I mean, yeah, there do be a lot of you broads out here pretending to be pregnant. But what was the other ones that people were saying? Amy Schumer just released a new comedy special, and it's so unfunny. It's like watching a documentary on paint drying. Critics are saying it's groundbreaking because the first time laughter was replaced by existential dread. So we have that. And these are all the ones that I pretty much read, y'all. Kinda Pregnant is a kind of disappointing Netflix film because of unfunny dialogues and characterization. Amy Schumer's presence is kind of failing. I guess this movie is not a good start this month of love. Well, child, it's also Black History Month, so we ain't just looking at it for that. Shout out to Black History Month, even though there's certain administrations that don't want to, acknowledge it. We had this one. I don't think you need me to tell you that Kinda Pregnant is terrible. It's the same old Amy Schumer shtick, an unfunny movie that goes about how you would expect. The acting is fine enough from the supporting cast, but that's nowhere near enough to save this movie. Well, look, as an actor, you can only do so much with what you got. And if the material is not delivering, you can only do so much. So, like I always say, if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. So I just got to do what I have to do as an actor. I show up, I say my lines, and keep it moving. But this movie ain't riding on me; it's on her. And I feel like, yeah, Amy Schumer is not someone who could sell out a theater. Like, this is a train wreck, which actually wasn't a bad movie. I thoroughly enjoyed Trainwreck. But then after that, all the movies post that were just bad. It's kind of like Tiffany Haddish. I enjoyed her in Girls Trip, but post Girls Trip, I can't take her. That's why I'm glad she over there on Hollywood Squares doing what she doing. Like, we can tolerate her in that, small doses. So then it's a more measured post described Kinda Pregnant as kind of disappointing Netflix film. And also they said that the movie wasn't even shown to critics. I wonder why. They said the decision to avoid screening films for critics is commonly regarded by viewers and industry analysts as a sign that the film's distributor assume it will receive disappointing reviews because they know how bad it is. And that is true. If there's two things that I think people need to learn. If they don't, that's a sign of the movie's bad. If they don't screen it for critics, and if you're watching a movie and the embargo isn't lifted until hours before the movie comes out, that's another sign. Embargo, for those of you who don't know, is basically like, if you see a movie and you review it, you can't really speak on it until the embargo is lifted. Then you can post your reviews, you can speak on it or whatever. Otherwise, if you go against it, you might not get invited to events or get screeners or whatever the case is based on a movie. So that's basically what embargo means, in case a lot of y'all didn't understand that. So now they said the move seems to have been at least partially successful, as Rotten Tomatoes didn't yet have enough reviews registered to determine a score for Kinda Pregnant as of Wednesday evening, though 6 out of the 8 registered reviews were negative. Oh, damn. So there's that. And I don't think I need to, beat the horse even more into the ground. We pretty much got the point. Wait, why did somebody put try not to rewatch Kinda Pregnant already? Why would you want to do that? Oh, well, I guess maybe because, some people actually, there was some positive ones. So we'll read the ones that people actually like so we can be fair and balanced over here. One fan wrote, Kinda Pregnant on Netflix is my kind of movie. And I say to that, there's no requirement for taste. Now, another user who confessed to being a fan posted a GIF of a woman crying and dabbing at her face. Try not to rewatch Kinda Pregnant already. OMG, they confessed. So if you care to watch it, it's on Netflix. I won't be watching it because, I just feel like that rom-coms have just not been giving me what I need in regards of funny. Like there's been a lot of dry comedy, whatever. And I hate when people always try to say, well, we have to be politically correct. No, just be funny. Just write a good script, give us a funny concept, and I'm here for it. I love lowest common denominator, toilet humor, physical comedy. I like all that stuff, but it has to be done in a way where it's clever and it's funny and it's it's just wistfully done. A lot of times I feel like a lot of these comedians who say that, oh, well, comedy is at stake and blah, 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 y'all are just lazy. Y'all want things a certain way and y'all don't want to put in the work. Because trust and believe, I love an inappropriate ass joke. Y'all already know that. As many a times as I've said things on this show, I love an inappropriate joke. I love a politically incorrect, unfiltered ass joke. I'm someone who's got to think you can make a funny joke about the homosexuals as long as it's funny. But if you go up here and it's meant with malice and just mean spirited, like some lazy shit that would come out of Dave Chappelle mouth, who stay with trans jokes on the tip of his damn tongue, then I'm like, it's a lazy read. It's not even funny. But people want to laugh so bad they just put up with whatever. But in regards to this, so I can wrap this up. I don't know why it took this movie for y'all to realize that Amy Schumer ain't funny. And she was at my job the other day. There was a bit, I don't know if it was on TV, because a lot of times if I'm working the shows, I don't know what makes it on the television and what doesn't. But when we were on, what was it? When it was like at the end of one of the quarters, there was the Knicks the New York Knicks dancers come out. So we have the New York Knicks City kids, where they have the kids that come out and perform, and then you have the regular, the regular New York Knicks dancers. And so during when the Knicks dancers came out and did their thing, because it was against the Lakers, which don't even remind me about that game, by the way. I was literally like stressed out watching that game. But anyway, enough of the Butch talk. I get my moment. Amy Schumer, they pan the camera to her, and I'm like, oh my God, what's about to happen? So she gets up and she does this choreographed number. And of course, because I was like close to the court, people was getting excited. The mid-white girls was getting all excited. Oh my God, I gotta go record this. Grab their phone, record the segment, because one girl's about to go to the bathroom. And so when she saw Amy Schumer and the whole thing was about to happen, she had, of course, run back down, get her phone out, record the little segment, and then run to the bathroom. And I'm sitting there like, it was cute or whatever, but I'm like, she is so annoying. So that's kind of what I got from it. But yeah, so they did this whole little bit and whatever. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if it made it on the TV show. If it made it on TV, probably did. But she was there. The whole cast of Kinda Pregnant was there to promote the movie in some sort of way. So there was that. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of that story? Are y'all shocked that an Amy Schumer movie, a comedy, is being raked through the coals from Netflix to the general public. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. And we do have a lot of comments because I knew y'all was there's a method to my madness, child. I knew the minute I talked about this Amy Schumer story that there'd be a lot of people that had a lot to say. Say F him. What about him being high? Mm-hmm. As I was gonna say, Meek Mill, you ain't no damn angel, but you out here trying to spill tea about Wendy Williams. Madonna was trying to promote the movie. And you know I'm so mad because I was gonna say that too. But I'll say it here. Madonna, you know, I love you. I live for I live for the music. I love the impact that you have had on pop culture. However, my love for you is not enough for me to sit through a damn tired ass Amy Schumer movie to hear whatever song that you gave her to be a part of this film. I don't know if it's an original song. If y'all know, fan out, let me know. Leave it in the comments. I don't know if it was an original song or it was an old song that she just basically let y'all rent out like they did with Like a Prayer for Deadpool and Wolverine. It ain't enough for me to go and do that. Like, so no ma'am. I know you was in your stories talking about go watch Amy Schumer's new movie because you have a song in the film. No, sorry, not doing it. Love you damn boots, but hell no. Not DEI hire. Who you calling a DEI hire? Meek Mill? Because remember, you know what he reminds me of with him snitching? Remember back in the day when he used to have like the FBI would hire certain Negroes to go and be like, oh, and they would think like, oh yeah, you're about to be a part of the whole situation. But the thing that they wanted you to do was they wanted you to infiltrate the Black Panther Party and spy on them and tell them what they was doing, even though the Black Panther Party was trying to liberate Black folks and provide things for the people. But you had them infiltrators, them coons that would go in. Same thing with them, what was the character of what's his name? That is the Uncle Ruckus types, the Uncle Toms, even the ones that Samuel L. Jackson played in Django Untamed. There's always one that think, if I snitch out of my own damn people, that, oh, Cleveland, who you telling? Because that's where I was looking at it. She definitely is one of them. And I'm like, Madonna, don't tell me you're about to become a Zionist because, sis, Netflix actually has a lot of good. Yes, they do. They actually do. One of the things I will give Netflix is they have good anime. And I've actually asked friends of mine, because funny enough, a lot of friends that I know from AMC when I work with them, they're big on like anime. So I'm like, can y'all recommend me like some good horror anime? Because there'd be certain ones I watch. I still haven't gotten around to Castlevania. I got to get around to that. But I've just been so bombarded with so much stuff. They haven't gotten around to watching that yet. Yeah, they do. They have some good sci-fi movies. They have some good action films. They have especially like the Indonesian action films. I love a lot of the stuff that they create over there. So that's what I really get into. They have good sci-fi, good action. Some of the horror movies are like, but if it's something I ain't seen in a long time, I'm like, well, I'll watch that. They got Scream 6 on there now. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know what Madonna sees in her. And I hope that when she did that little stand-up special, that her music is not, that the comedy wasn't as bad as Amy's is. Mm-hmm. I'm still shocked over that too. I'm still gagging over that. I said, what the hell? I would rather y'all do what's her name? The McKibben chick. I forget her first name. I almost call her Nikki McKibben. Nikki McKibben was on the first season of American Idol. So I don't know why in my head I'm thinking they said it would have flopped if she had been in it. Okay. No, you said she's another DEI hire. Well, it seems like a lot of the white folks, they'll benefit more from DEI and all that other stuff than we do. Oh, so it was an old child. I'm not watching that movie to hear express yourself. I could play that on my own damn phone and be good. Why do I have to watch a movie to hear express yourself? She ain't gonna express herself for the movie. You missed the last part of my other comment. Oh, I must have. Oh yeah, you did say. Oh, you did write that. I'm like, you ain't write that. You did write it. You said Madonna was trying to promote the movie, saying she had a song in it, which turned out to be express yourself. So you trying to trick us, but with an old ass song? Perfect Blue is a horror anime film about a pop star who gets her identity stolen and has a person copying every aspect of her. Is that on Netflix? Hold on. Now let me do this live before I forget. um, all kinds of crazy stuff happens on this show. Oh, February 13th, final season of Cobra Kai. Now that's my show. That's the first thing I open when I come to Netflix. And what's it called? Perfect Blue. Let me see if it's up here. Yes, that is what I'm looking for. Oh, they said we don't have that, but you might like. So it's not on Netflix. Okay, whatever. I'll still find it somewhere. Except I'm not into sci-fi, but I like French suspension films. Well, the French make some good stuff too. The French make good horror films. Um, they make good action movies and stuff too. The Korean action movies, another one that I actually like from them. So Netflix be having some good stuff on it. Sometimes it gets overwhelming because they have way too much stuff on there, and I get so overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't know where to start. It says an animated version of Black Swan. We do love Black Swan, even though some people try not to consider Black Swan to be a horror movie. Who was I having? Oh yeah, there was a whole argument with that my um on my Facebook page. And yeah, I put Black Swan in there as a horror film. And one of my friends was in the comments saying, well, these aren't horror movies. Like Silence of the Lambs, Black Swan. I'm like, yes, they are. What are you talking about? Like they may not be, because I think what people equate horror with, they think, because like I said, even the substance is a horror movie. Yes, it's about ageism and sexism and all the other stuff, but at its core, it's a horror movie. It's body horror. So there's different layers to horror. Horror is not only Friday the 13th or Halloween or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's like the obvious, more mainstream slasher type stuff. That's slasher films. There are psychological thrillers, which they decided to equate Silence of the Lambs of being, when I'm like, that's a horror movie. Same thing with Long Legs. Long Legs is a horror movie too. You said my PFP is from an anime. Belladonna of Sadness is from 1973 and it has a lot of horror and erotica. The whole thing is on YouTube. Oh, so I have to look up on YouTube then. Yeah, YouTube be having some good stuff. I told her that's how I watched there's two movies on YouTube that I absolutely love that I watched. It was Fright Night Part 2, and then they have this old movie from the 80s called The Kiss. Bitch, when I tell you that movie freaked me out with escalators. I don't know if y'all ever seen that movie, but there's a scene with an escalator that has freaked me out. That movie walked so that before we got Final Destination, before they can run, because that scene freaked me out. I was like, I'm going to make sure my shoelaces is tied every time I get my ass on a goddamn escalator ever since I watched that movie. And so Madonna used Perfect Blue in the What It Feels Like for a Girl interlude. Led to DVD being banned at Walmart in Asian countries due to and I think what it was because of that specific scene. Most of the people probably had no idea that she was using sequences from that film. And a lot of times, well, not only that, but I think it's because they didn't know what was on it. A lot of times when they selling stuff, they're not paying attention to what actually is, the content that's on the thing until some major artist, I guess, brings it to their attention. Now people are complaining to we need to ban it. Because I do remember that scene too. With the nudity and wasn't there like an assault sequence in that, if I can remember off the top of my head? Anyway, all right. So let's get into some Azealia Banks news. I guess I'm on Team Azealia Banks side today because she is coming out towards J.K. Rowling. So it looks like from the latest story regarding Azealia Banks that J.K. Rowling might have finally met her damn match. Can you do Nancy Mace next after you're done with this bitch? So Azealia Banks, who has herself issued a number of anti-trans rants online, took aim at the best-selling Harry Potter author and noted anti-trans advocate in a pair of posts on her Twitter account on February 4th. Now, responding to a fan asking why Banks's body looks a certain way, the 212 rapper called out the way people discuss women's bodies in conjunction with the ongoing issue of transvestigation online. Now, shout out to whoever came up with the word transvestigation. because that is a new thing where it's like, transvestigation. So basically that means is that if people who run around accusing someone of being transgender, they trying to investigate whether or not they're an actual man or woman or whatever the case is. When it's just like, y'all been out here all loud and wrong in this situation, because there's been people that I've been noticing, especially Nancy Mace on her damn witch hunt, when it's like, bitch, between you and J.K. Rowling with y'all big ass heads, long ass necks, and strong jawline, do we need to start questioning y'all gender? Because y'all be the ones that got those managed features. Y'all be the main ones that went around here calling this one, that one, the other one trans. And don't even get me started on Nancy. Oh wait, let me find that one before we get to this. So there was this video, and I knew it was something I was supposed to do, and I totally forgot to look it up. There was this one video where this kid named It's Luke 7 went in on, and I found it too, but he dragged the hell out of Nancy Mays. I cackled when he went in on her, but I was like, where is it? I found her. So yeah, we're gonna play that one because I want y'all to hear what he had to say about her, because that was the read of all reads. But first, let's get into this tea. So she went over to the Twitter, and I do have that post where she basically said what it was asking why her body looks the way it looks. She said, because I'm female and not out here pumping, trying to compete with the dolls. The dolls are gorgeous. For those of you who don't know who the dolls are, that's what we also call trans women. You do realize all the BBL culture with females is sprung from wanting to compete with trans women, right? From them feeling a threat to their femininity. I think the dolls are fab and do not need to shade them or change myself because my femininity is not threatened by them. All of the insane anti-trans paranoid people like at JK_Rowling feel their femininity is threatened for whatever reason and try to mask that insecurity with science like anyone is stupid and don't already know these things. Well, quite as kept, there's a lot of people out here stupid, because I've been telling y'all for the longest, we have a whole government right now that's just robbing us blind and selling our information to the highest bidder, our social security, and everything that's going on with that. When you got Elon Musk trying to infiltrate certain situations, and thank goodness we already have him blocked from doing that. With Elizabeth Warren, all of them taken to the street, Jasmine Crockett, all of them being like, sir, who are you and why are you trying to come up in here? We didn't vote for you. Get your ugly ass up out of here. So when you got people talking about why she built the way she built, she's skinny. So why are you trying to read Azealia on her body? Her body is her body. And yes, a lot of the trans girls, they out here getting the booties and the breasts and all the stuff. And you see the Kardashians out here was trying to compete with them girls. They sit up here talking about that shit is natural. No, the fuck it's not. Stop. Who you lying to? Because you ain't got us fooled. But then Azealia did continue on to say the following. She said, no shade at J.K. Rowling. No, I say all the shade. Thanks for the follow, and I love you down, sis, but trans women are not a threat to your femininity. You are really too rich and legendary to keep spewing the same stuff over and over and over. The real problem in the world is crimes against children. Adults are going to be who they want to be and sleep with who they want to. And I'm not even sure trans people make up more than like 10%, way less than that, by the way, of the global population. My brother is trans, and that was the gag for me because I had no idea she had somebody in her family who was transgender. She said, my brother's trans, and I have witnessed firsthand the type of misery, pain, ostracism, suicide attempts, unnecessary and unwarranted abuse my mother doled out to my brother. Excuse me. The discomfort with his body, it's not a mental illness, it's a spiritual thing. Excuse me. One would assume that you, of all people who have written books about magic and esoteric things, would be able to comprehend and understand how states of consciousness vary in a human being. It's been years, sis. Adults are fucking. Chances are the man you dating or will date is attracted to trans women and also thinks about sucking other men's cocks. Girl, this mouth. Hold on, because I'm feeling a cough coming. Maybe because I'm gagging from all of this, this true tea that Miss Azealia is spilling in his long ass Twitter post. Is she allowed to do it? Does she have a blue check mark? Yeah, she do. That's probably why she's allowed to write like 5 damn part paragraphs worth of, a thesis on trying to read a bitch down. Okay, so now, where was I? Okay, being in protest about it is not going to change reality. You are too paid and too accomplished to be worried about what adults choose to do in their sex lives. Repeat the science all you want. Not a single trans woman will debate you about that. But I really do think it's a front for some weird inferiority thing that is truly just in your mind. I say this with lots of love and respect. Girl, you saying that with all your chest, but I am cackling over this because it's like, yeah, I really don't understand why people like J.K. Rowling is so pressed about what people are doing in the privacy of their own home or how people decide to live their lives. If someone wants to wake up and be trans, what does that got to do with you? Why are you so pressed? Like, worry about how you gonna make this new Harry Potter series for HBO. Like, focus on that. Or how you can make other characters outside the whole Harry Potter universe that people actually give a fuck about. Because quiet as it's kept, nobody cared about Fantastic Beasts. That whole franchise flopped. Y'all made a whole bunch of damn movies and nobody cared. So maybe that's what you need to be focusing on instead of worrying about what trans people is doing in the privacy of their own life. What that got to do with you? Maybe you need to work on getting a little couple of more injections and things up in your face. But there were some people that commented. Got Mick jumped in the comments, was like, work. Then we have oh no, he does adult performances. Gus, shout out to Rambunctious Gus. So the way you told her exactly what she had to hear, yet she probably will never understand. Well, at that point, she's just ignorant, and she's not gonna want to learn. So you can only lead somebody to the water, but you can't force them to drink. And then another person said, "You switch up so frequently, it's honestly impressive." Another person said, and I agree with this, why are you giving her love and respect, but you drag your fellow musicians to filth for little to nothing? So I do agree. Who's Ari Drennan? Because she wrote Party. But I do agree with that. It's just like, you be so quick to run out here and you being nice to the trans community today. But then any other time, you be so busy dragging your fellow contemporaries. Especially when they were just talking about you were just dragging the Grammy Academy for all of a sudden them piggybacking so hard off of this whole Drake Kendrick Lamar beef. That was her recent one before she went and decided to do this. But before we get up off here, so kudos to you. Even though you've been criticized multiple times in the past for your transphobic comments. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, so this situation, do you really believe what you believe? Because you sat up in here and made a lot of anti-trans comments in the past, knowing full on well that you have a trans sibling and your mother was not the nicest person to your sibling. So why all of a sudden the change of heart? So I don't know. I'm a little. While I applaud you for speaking out for to the trans community, I'm side-eyeing her. And what I don't like about JK is that she's been out here for years, pushing inaccurate information about trans people, gender affirming care, trans women using women's bathrooms, all that other stuff. Same thing with Nancy Mace. Which, speaking of which, before we get up off here, I want y'all to watch this clip because it's Luke 7. Y'all need to be following him. Follow him on Instagram and follow him on TikTok. This kid is hilarious. He looks like, based off a little, this white kid, upon appearance, he looked like a Trump supporter. He is total opposite. He has no problem calling people out on their stuff, and he uses a lot of profanity, which I absolutely love because that's how we talk. Because people get mad when you curse and all this other stuff and you say certain things. They all like, oh, you dilute the information or you take away the point. No, sometimes you got to cuss to make a point. And I'm tired of people saying that people who curse are less than smart or not intelligent. That's a lie. First of all, there's been a whole thing done that people who curse are highly intelligent, which is why I can probably never do a show all the way through without me saying, fuck, shit, son of a bitch, cock, all those. I stay with profanity coming out of this goddamn mouth. So let's get to that clip because I want y'all to hear him read. And I tell you, he read Miss Mama Nancy Mace, that stink bitch, down to the floor. Oh, he read her from cover to cover. Please hold.
Never seen a more vile human being than Nancy Mace, because during a House Oversight Committee, she repeatedly used a slur for trans folks that rhymes with granny. And then she defended her actions by saying that due to the party that's in charge now, we don't have to be politically correct anymore. Does that mean that I get to call her a cousin fucking bigoted wretch who isn't worth the sweat and spit that was swapped to create her and is about as much use to humanity as birth control in a nun's medicine cabinet? Because you get what you fucking give, and all she gives is hate, so it's about time she gets some in return. And as for James Comer, the Republican chairman of the panel, who stepped in after Democrats went, holy shit, she just spotted a bunch of slurs, and said that he wasn't up to date on what was a slur and what wasn't these days, I've seen more goddamn spine in a fucking jellyfish. It is not that fucking hard to call out bigotry when it is happening right in front of your fucking face. One of these days, this nasty woman is going to realize that the party she champions so fucking hard does not give a flying fuck about her. She's going to get her just desserts, and I'm going to be sitting there eating fucking popcorn. I don't know that.
Mm-hmm. And the thing with Nancy is Nancy was never that type of girl. Now all of a sudden she's jumping on the bandwagon because she needs money. Like a lot of them. She's a grifter. And she sees like with the, now she wants to jump on the Marjorie Taylor Greene bandwagon and all that other mess. So yeah, I just wanted to show y'all that clip and us have a cackle because I can't stand that bitch. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story in regards to Azealia Banks all of a sudden turning a leaf and defending the trans community over J.K. Rowling's consistent, shade towards them? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, now we have comments. Speaking of which, he said, one of my favorite anime movies is The Legend of Sirius, which is also on YouTube. Not a horror movie, but a love story between the Price of Water and you mean the Prince of Water and the Princess of Fire? I was gonna say the Price of Water. Says, well, that was the secret. The secret was that she had a trans brother, which I didn't know. That was the secret. That was a shock to me when I heard that, man. That's what I was surprised by. I was like, wait a minute. So you kept that in your arsenal over the years. Meanwhile, you was out here talking about the trans community when you had a whole trans sibling. The last interesting film I saw was a documentary of migrants crossing the Darien Straits. It's sad that what they risk and now only to get turned back. Yeah, and it's like, I wish that people would be more empathetic. Well, you have to go through here the right way. Also, we have a bunch of colonizers trying to determine how people should come in and out of the country when America was built on the genocide of just murdering and maiming Native Americans for their land. Are we really going to sit up here and talk about how that migrants should come in the right way? Y'all didn't come in the right way. And look where we are. Scylla says, I love you, but it's hard to stand and support you sometimes because you flip-flop. I hate that for her, but I'm here for the... Exactly. I'm glad we see. That's kind of where I am on it. I feel like JK doesn't like being a woman because her obsession... That could be it too, because I don't understand people that go so hard for people changing, people being trans, because it's like, are you not happy with who you are and you feel like you can't be who you really want to be? So instead of you living and living your life as you see fit, you got all the money in the world. You could afford to transition if you want. But now you rather just be out here and hate. So you don't like who you are, so you want to go and bash other people who actually have the balls to be themselves. Also, Epic Universe is getting a Harry Potter land. I wonder if she'll get money for that too. Well, I guess anything that's attached to Harry Potter, that maybe she will. Yeah, she is a flip-flopper. In a few months, she could stand up. That's what we're saying. It's like, it's hard for us to even agree with her or go with what she's got to say, because it's like, you being fake. Yeah, I've heard of the show Black Cake. There's also a new show with Sterling K. Brown on Hulu called Paradise. Oh my God. I saw the first episode and gagged. I was like, oh, this is a good one. And James Marsden plays the president. I think we might have talked about this on the show. Y'all need to watch that. I think they got the first 4 episodes up. All right, y'all. So we have about 3 more topics left in today's show before we're done. So before we get to said topics, if you can, do me a solid and hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I'll also be putting some timestamps in the show so that way you know when we kick off with certain topics, because I know a lot of people who come in and watch the later shows, I don't know if they sit all the way through, but I know y'all like, you probably don't like the banter. First of all, the banter is just as entertaining as the topics. So I say sit through all the show, but I know people don't have a lot of time. Or as I said before, just leave it on in the background while you're driving, you're doing your work, you're doing whatever. You know, I am a cackle. I do what I can to entertain you bitches. So, and when I say bitches, I say it with love. Y'all should know that. So let's get into this Hollywood Reporter article. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but after Chappell Roan did her, won her Grammys, and then she won 2, right? When she won the Best New Artist Grammy, and then she got up on stage and she called out the industry, the Hollywood Reporter felt the need to do a whole article, but they had a guest reporter that came in that's in the industry, a music executive by the name of Jeff Rabon, and was basically bashing her in this interview. So I do want to read y'all a little bit of what he had to say, just to give y'all a little bit of context in regards of the story. I was like, I got a lot of Chappell Roan windows and stuff open. So, because it was like a bunch of stuff that was going on. So, basically what happened was, and so Hollywood Reporter is actually being called out for their article on her because they criticized her, calling her, first of all, they gave her a whole name. I was like, first of all, this slander is shady. They call her Chappell Grown. And we've been, look, I call the Chappell Moan. So we've had things on here where we have been very critical over Chappell and a lot of the whining and bitching that she has done in regards of a lot of stuff going on previously. However, in this situation, I am Team Chappell on this because I'm like, this feels like some insurance mess where it's just like, oh, well, so those of us who work jobs or whatever the case is, we just want like a way for, if we're working for a company, the company to take care of the people that work for them. Is that too much to ask for? But y'all don't want to do that. Y'all want to always find a way to not pay people their worth. And that's basically what her overall complaint was. So yes, the Hollywood Reporter is being called out for their article criticizing Chappell Roan for having their guest columnist call out the Good Luck Babe singer for dragging the music industry for not taking care of their artists. Now, after Chappell Roan's historic Grammy speech, where she called out the music industry to offer artists a living wage and health care, the Hollywood Reporter has published a guest column from music exec Jeff Rabon calling Roan too green, and I think they put too many times. Too green and too uninformed by saying her speech after winning Best New Artist was a hackneyed and plagiarized script of an artist basking in industry love while broadcasting naivete and taking aim at the very machine that got her there. Talk about tone deaf. But yeah, so hold on. So we have a bit of the article. Let's read a little bit of it. We're not going to read the whole damn thing. But I just want to give you a taste of the article. If you want to read the full article, you definitely do that after the show. Excuse me. So they said, what would Prince say or Tom Petty? They fought for their souls and for the rights of their music, putting their careers in jeopardy for what they believed was artistic integrity, the hallmark of greatness. And when you've been around long enough, you know the real substantive evidence doesn't come from speeches. It comes from where the rubber meets the road, life and limb, harm's way, risking it all with action. Whether it's Prince wresting back control of his master recordings at the height of his popularity, or Petty funding his iconic album Damn the Torpedoes himself, and then refusing to release it, and then taking on his label for raising the price on his LP, Skin in the Game earns a seat at the table. But the table requires a willingness to leave blood on the floor and to put the money where their mouth is. Well, she's successful because people like her music. However, also, if we're going to talk about Prince, let's talk about Prince, because Prince has called out the industry many a times and even went on at a point of changing his name, refused to go by Prince. He went as a symbol. We had to call him artist formerly known as Prince. How easy we forget history in this country. especially when it comes to music industry, music history. He wrote slave on his face because he was a slave to the industry. He had broken his back giving y'all so much of himself, so much music, so much iconic stuff, so much genius, and y'all treated him like he was shit under your damn shoe. And he was tired of it. And he called out the company. I mean, the industry. The industry has always been, I understand, like, when it comes down to making music or whatever, that when you sign yourself to a label, you're giving them money to be able to record the music and all the other stuff that comes with that, and they have to pay that back, which they should be doing. But then you put them in these horrible contracts where it's like, I have to stream your music 3 times in a row in order for you to make a cent. Like, what is that? How does anybody make a living wage off of the music that they've created? I'm breaking my back. I'm paying all this money to record this record. I'm having to go on tour. A lot of stuff comes with that. You got to pay the crew. You got to pay for the stuff for the stage. You have to pay for the costumes, the dancers, the band, all that other stuff. Yes, it's coming out of your pocket. But it's like, I got to pay all these people. And then when it's time for me to get a piece of the pie, I'm broke. We've heard this story many a times. So they're saying, it's like, yeah, we're willing to go hard for you and to put in the work so that we can live our dream. But why are we constantly being ripped off? No matter how hard I work, I'm still with no money. Artists have to go into doing other things in order to be able to have the success that they have. Or you get lucky to a point where you're like Taylor Swift, who has found a way to navigate through this shitstorm of this industry and has been able to certify herself as making $1 billion from her music alone. She's one of the lucky ones. Everybody else is out here, busting their hump. So yeah, so what else they said? Because like I said, I don't want to read the whole thing. So they said it seems Chappell Roan wants to turn labels into landlords, bosses, and insurance providers. Have you ever tried to get your expenses reimbursed from a major label? Yet somehow you want them in charge of healthcare claims, as if labels want next year's winner to shout them down as slumlords in front of 60 million viewers. The architect of such a system, Motown's trailblazing Berry Gordy, received his fair share of criticism for Hitsville's unprecedented success, but the artists were happy with their royalties and credits, right? Exactly. Now, they said Roan gets respect and true appreciation for her artistry and gumption, but is far too green and too uninformed to be the agent of change she aspires to be today. She may evolve quickly, perhaps build a confab of power-wielding playmakers, or even pass the torch to another leader to be, but her Grammy speech was a hackneyed and plagiarized script of an artist basking in industry love while broadcasting naivete and taking aim at the very machine that got her there. If labels are responsible for artists' wages, healthcare, and overall well-being, where does it end and personal responsibility begin? Could Chris Blackwell put a mint on her pillow and tuck her in at night too? There is no moral or ethical obligation by any standard that holds labels responsible for the allocation of additional funds beyond advances and royalties. So that's where we'll leave it at for now, because I feel like we don't need to go in and read the whole article, but y'all pretty much got a gist of what he's basically trying to put out here. So, of course, a lot of people did not like what he had to say, and they dragged him over it. One of the things I did not like about the article, he basically tried to talk her down like she was a bunch of nothing. I didn't like his approach in this article, because the whole mint on the pillow and tuck her in at night like she's a child, to me, that pisses me off. It's like she's well enough to know what's going on for her to speak out on her experiences. And if she didn't know what the hell she was talking about, then why did people twice her age stand up and applaud in agreement? So maybe you need to answer that. There was a lot of people that was in that audience that jumped up and was and pretty much agreed with her and what she was saying. It wasn't just because she's a new artist, and technically she's not a new artist. Chappell Roan's been making music since she was 14 years old, and she even talked about her experience of being dropped during the pandemic and how she had no experience out there. She had no kind of, there was no artist development, there was no training, there was nothing for her to fall back on when she was literally out here left by the wayside, broke, trying to figure out what to do with her career. Then he also said that the kid basically called her the kid who didn't get picked for dodgeball, telling there's still room for puffy dogs and ice cream in this story. Like basically saying that you expect the world to be full of lollipops and rainbows. Life is hard. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and figure it out. That's the overall attitude that I'm sick and tired of. A lot of these execs, these oligarchs, these billionaires, these people that work in these corporate worlds. I'm tired of y'all with that bullshit in regards to the whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That is a lie that our society continues to feed people. You don't have any intent of people pulling themselves up by their bootstraps to make something of themselves. There are very few out here who've been lucky enough to do that. For the most part, we live in a system that is broken, that is intent to keep people believing that if you work hard enough, that you too can be a part of the elite. It's bullshit. So stop it. And he knows that. But for him to get up in here and say that mess, that just pissed me all the way off. But I wasn't just the only one that he pissed off. Because a lot of people went over on Instagram and dragged his ass for what he had to say. Now, hold on. Let me pull up the Instagram post. So, yeah, the Instagram thing that we had to say, he said, it seems hashtag Chappell Roan wants to turn labels into landlords, bosses, insurance providers. Have you ever tried to get your expenses reimbursed from a major label? And I read that part. It said, Roan gets respect and true appreciation for her artistry and gumption, but is far too green and too uninformed. Oh, yeah. So this whole thing is basically from the page that he had written. That whole paragraph that I read, y'all. So I don't need to read that again. But I do have some of the comments that the people was making. So producer and songwriter Justin Tranter, who actually like him, he's written songs with Chappell Roan. He's also written songs for Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, Janelle Monáe, and Lady Gaga, said, please delete this now. Filmmaker Sarah Ann Maas, who was one of the first women to come forward about Harvey Weinstein's abuse, said the following. This is such an entitled, condescending, misogynistic article. Ew. Now, actor Jacqueline Taboni from the L Word Generation Q added that the column was outrageously misguided. Now, filmmaker, DJ, and Los Angeles hospitality industry poet Marsha Molinari added, wow, this is trash, while actor and filmmaker Tommy Dorfman said this is the most insane take, and then just cut off an eye. I'm like, they ain't saying nothing else. Now, y'all know Miss Cuckoo herself, Cynthia Lee Fontaine from Drag Race, had a lot to say about the article. She said, I just can't believe what I read. This person just criticized CR when her main message in her acceptance speech was for health insurance for artists. Benefits that really matter for the well-being of the artist. Jeff, please don't make me start. So then at the end of the day, a lot of people in the comments were calling out THR to delete the guest column and do better. And I feel like, you know what? I do agree with that. First of all, I love you, the Hollywood Reporter. You know, I reference y'all a lot on this show. I'm all about the trades. Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, Variety, Entertainment Weekly. A lot of y'all, I go to y'all for reference in regards of what's going on in the entertainment industry. But for you to post this and allows, why? Because y'all are part of the corporations, y'all are part of the elite, y'all are part of the establishment, that you felt the need to let some idiot from the industry come in and write some stupid article talking down Chappell Roan, who was only asking for a living wage and health care. These people are putting their bodies on the line doing a multitude of shows, flying around the world to entertain millions of their fans. Not at the same time, though. Because, you know, certain people in places got capacity of like 20,000, 40,000. Sometimes you work in the smaller venues, it could be 5,000. But nevertheless, people like Chappell Roan and so many like her are putting their bodies on the line. And the least you could do is take care of them. We hear so many stories about people who have put their bodies through the works just so they can entertain people. How many? Madonna with her ailments, Lady Gaga with her hip problem. Then we had Michael Jackson, who had to go and self-medicate because of the injuries that he was enduring from putting so much of himself into and appeasing these damn labels and making y'all a shit ton of money. Then did we mention Prince? So there's been many of people out here who put their lives on the line every day to entertain us. The least you people can do, besides sucking up all their damn money and getting rich, is give them the health care that they're asking for. She ain't asked you to just, throw $1 billion in my damn wallet by me doing the bare minimum. That's not what she asking. She asked for health care for her and her fellow peers in the industry. Is that too much to ask? Apparently it is, because then the Hollow Report had to come out with this tight-ass article. So, this is a problematic-ass article, and whatever, child. So, keep doing you, Chappell. I don't feel no ways tired about what you said. Like, you didn't say nothing ignorant or wrong, but I just can't believe that this is what we're dealing with now in this whole situation. But it should not come as a surprise. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story in regards to Chappell Roan speaking out against the industry and the fact that the Hollywood Reporter had the nerve, the gumption, the full-on unliterated gall to allow some moron in the industry to windmill hard for them not wanting to give insurance to their artists. So more people need to speak up on this and not just leave Chappell out here to dry. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, so we have comments. Felix says, I like a few of Chappell's songs, but she complains a lot. Did you see the video I posted last night about her saying fuck the Grammys in 2022? Yeah, and that's why I mentioned before. You sit there and talk about you don't want to win a Grammy, so and so, but you showed up and you got your award and you did all this. So I just was like, I don't know if that was the bipolar disorder talking or whatever, but I just don't understand how you was just running out here so quick to bash the Grammys, but you was up in there on Sunday night collecting your award and performing. Onyx says, who is he protecting? THR is very sketchy and aggravating to me. Yeah, this was normally I just go in with whatever is going on with the latest celebrity news and what's going on in movies and music or whatever the case is. But that article pissed me off. There's this one homosexual artist who RCA signed right before the pandemic in hopes of becoming the male equivalent of Billy. He recently got out of his label late last year, and he has a similar story. Oh, who is he? Let me know who that artist is. He's young, too. He turns 22 next month, and he signed with them when he was 16. That's why I was like, that's why I tell people, don't even sign to a label. If you can, like, we have so many avenues right now where you could just put out music and get your stuff out there. You don't need a label. I mean, yeah, the label helps push you further out, but sometimes you got to do the groundwork yourself, which is why I saw this story that's going around that YouTube is getting into the whole streaming game, but they're going to allow people to put up their own self-funded or whatever the case is programs, like a TV show, whatever the case is. I'm like, YouTube, that's the future. Streaming and all other stuff, that's the future of where we going with content and TV. And I was like, well, I want to get in on that. I just need somebody to give me some, take out, what was it, like a loan or something or another, and put money into that program and see what happens with that. The Prince documentary is canceled by Net. Oh, is it? I almost forgot that we were supposed to get a Prince documentary. There's a lot of fighting and stuff going on because they couldn't determine how many episodes they wanted to do. If I remember off the top of my head correctly, the Prince documentary is canceled by Netflix in the estate. Another one is going to be made just by his music alone, nothing about his personal life. But you know what? I feel like at this point, maybe that's the way they need to go. I'm still nervous about the Michael Jackson story because with everything that's going on with that and the fact that they can't talk about one of the cases, like, how are you going to tell a Michael Jackson story that's entertaining outside of the music? We got to talk about the abuse allegations. All 40 studio albums is a peak of his life. 40 albums, 40 episodes in the docuseries. Then that's going to be a whole lot of Prince. That Prince had to self-medicate. Exactly. And that's the point of what I'm trying to make, is the fact that with the health insurance and stuff, the lack thereof, it's like a lot of these artists, they don't have the money or the wherewithal. They got to spend money out of their pocket to be. Why is it that in America alone, we have the worst goddamn health care and people are just okay with it? I never knew Prince was hooked on pain pills. He was so private. People hardly knew. Yeah, he definitely was. And it could have been because of the whole Jehovah's Witness thing, too. I do agree with what she said. Celebrities are people too. Well, apparently they think they're a bunch of damn pack mules that needs to be out here just tap dancing, for 2 hours straight and then just suck it up and shut up. That's basically what he's giving with that. Oh, his name is Isaac Dunbar. Why does that name sound familiar? We likes all the people that I'm sure that Conan Gray likes too. Speaking of Conan Gray, where's he been? Is that the latest news? Let me see. Michael Jackson. I don't see anything on that. But I would not be surprised if that is the latest news in regards of that. Because I know they said they got reshoots or whatever. Oh. Yeah, this is a story that came out on Movie Web. And I think that's what you're probably talking about. They said won't be moonwalking into theaters, but I don't know. I'll check into that story and see how that goes. Did you? No, I didn't, because I told you I don't have Lifetime, but I do wonder, is it on Hulu? Is it on there? Because I know like sometimes Hulu does upload Lifetime movies and all that other stuff. So I have to check over there and see if it's there. If it is, then I'll check it out because I definitely want to watch the movie. I'm checking actually as hold on. Can you feel the beat? Oh, it said no. It says watch with live TV, and it says my subscription doesn't include this movie. So the only way I guess I would have to watch it is if one of the streaming services decides to put it up there on one of the, one of the streaming services decides to upload it to their channel, and then I can watch it that way. But yeah, whenever it comes down to certain things, unless I have it, I can't see it. So it's funny. I was like, yeah, he's very similar to Conan Gray. I like Conan. He's kind of like in that same range of like, what's his name? Benson Boone. They all kind of reminded me of each other. We got Benson Boone, we got Conan Gray, we have this Isaac Dunbar kid, and then we have Harry Styles. All kind of in the same boat. Now, speaking of homosexual musicians, let's talk about David Archuleta's Hold the Tomato, who just recently, there's an article I saw over there on Out, where he was basically talking about hooking up with guys who are in the closet. So shout out to him. Little cute self. I was let's post a picture of his little Instagram while he all shirtless and looking like a snack. So yeah, now nearly 4 years after first coming out of the closet as a homosexual man, the 34-year-old remains loud and proud. Say, I know a lot of y'all be like, well, he a little boy. He's 34 years damn old. He's not a child. The 34-year-old remains loud and proud as he's been sharing his journey of self-acceptance with the world on social media. Now, whether posting his gym gains, hinting about his bedroom proclivities, or just showing off his dance moves, witnessing Archuleta level in his in his newfound freedom and authenticity has been a joy to watch. And I know a lot of people have kind of been criticizing him and stuff. I'm like, I think they feel like he's almost childlike. But what people need to understand excuse me, about David Archuleta, he grew up Mormon. So therefore, when you are someone who is deeply within like those cultist type church situations, like Mormon, Jehovah's Witness, Scientology, when you do stuff like that, it takes a while for you to kind of come out of that and come to terms with who you are. And I just love that sense of naivete. I don't know. I just find like when it comes to guys, even if you're a man, like even if you're older, like you could be in your 30s, 40s, whatever, that sense of naivete, I don't know. I find that so attractive when it comes to guys, unless you kind of just playing it up and like that gets you a lot of attention. But I just feel like that David is very much not playing it up. So we also have to realize that, the American Idol season 7 runner-up, he is making up for lost time. So I always feel like people need to be aware that when you are a homosexual, you can be male, female, whatever. But I'll speak for the homosexual men. We come out I feel like we have two situations where it's like we have what is it? We go through puberty twice. So we go through our natural puberty, which is like, when you're a teenager and it's the awkwardness, coming to terms with, developing into a man, whatever the case is. And then when you come out as gay, you're coming out again. So it's like you're going through that whole transitional puberty period again. So you're going through all the things you couldn't do because you had to pretend you were into girls and all that other stuff. Now you're going through that with your same-sex attractions. So I feel like we go through these periods twice in our lives, which I have to say is relatively lucky. Not many people are afforded that. So I actually like the fact that, we come out twice in situations in our lives, or we go through two versions of puberty. One is just this closeted male, whatever, and then you come out as a homosexual. So he says, I feel like I'm back in like what people usually have in their teenage or college years, which is what he told Us Weekly. I feel like I'm having that in my 30s because I had my first sip of alcohol. I cannot believe he had his own first sip of alcohol in his 30s. But like I said, he was a Mormon, so I don't even think they're allowed to drink. But yeah, that's what I was saying. That's, I think, what I was trying to get to. I said puberty, but it's like, your teenage years. You're going through being a teenager twice. One is the natural progression of when you're a teenager and the growing up and becoming an adult. And then you do it again when you come out as a homosexual. Now, Archuleta has also jumped into the gay dating scene head first, but part of embracing his true self means closeted gays are a deal breaker. In fact, it's the main reason he's currently in the process of relocating from conservative Nashville to be in more liberal confines of Los Angeles. Now, that gagged me. I cannot believe that he actually lives in Nashville, Tennessee. But he's about, I'm about to move to LA. Child, if you move to West Hollywood, oh, it's a wrap. Them children are going to eat you up. And not in a bad way, because you cute. So can you imagine running around in Los Angeles and West Hollywood, body snatched for the gods, cute face? The boys are going to be trying to get all up in them guts. Although he did say he's verse. He did reveal that when he did the interview with, oh my God, what's the Sip and Spill, the show that comes on Logo. When he was on that and did that interview with Johnny Sibley, he was like, he basically hinted that he's verse. Because he says just doing one thing is kind of boring. Well, I say it depends, because there's people who tried bottoming and didn't like it. And when people, I mean me, I was like, I know what I like, yeah. And so, basically he said, I was trying to date somebody over there, and they're just like, I can't let any of my friends know. I'm like, I just went through this. Like, I'm finally proud to be myself and out. Like, I don't think I can do this. Now, Archuleta will be expanding on how much his life has changed in a new memoir that centers on his experiences over the last few years. He said, I wrote a book about it and it will be released this summer. I've been in my transition from being a Mormon all my life to now not being, and from being in the closet to not being anymore. Now, part of that transition also involves getting comfortable with showing more skin, comfortable in my skin with his wardrobe choices, which was on full display at the Grammy Awards viewing party on Sunday. Now, for the occasion, Archuleta stepped out of his comfort zone in a white, oversized ASO suit that he paired with a plunging top that showed off his muscled pecs. Now, hold on. Let me go over to the gram and see if that picture is up, because I'm like, ooh, let me see. Oh, yeah, here it is. He looks good. Please hold. I like that outfit. I would definitely wear that. And first of all, the chesticles is chesting. So he definitely giving body yaddy yaddy. And shout out to him. So, here's the thing. Oh, and he also did a cover of George Michael's Freedom. That was another thing that he recently did, which I was like, okay, I'm here for it. And I kind of would love to see David Archuleta, like, if he decides to really I know he's been dropping songs here and there, but I definitely would love to see him go into a more George Michael direction. Where just so, like, give us that sleek R&B pop, even though some dance tracks up in there. I'll definitely support. I'm a fan. I've been a fan of David Archuleta ever since I saw him on American Idol. He was like one of my favorites. And I live for him. I live for Adam Lambert. I always like my gays that like to step out and stand out. So he says, I wouldn't have been wearing so much like chest showing because when I was a Mormon, everything had to be from here. So I'm like, just showing it more like here I am. And look, Archie, Florida, if you got it, if the body is on point, show it off. That's how I be feeling. If I work my ass, like I work hard at the gym, I'm not trying to cover all that up like I'm in a damn burqa or whatever. It's like, no, I want to show off my best assets. So if the ass is popping, show that off. If the chesticles is chesting, show off your pecs. And a plunging neckline, why can't guys be comfortable enough to show off, excuse me, their body and stuff? So with him saying that, I totally am with him on the whole, the comments regarding him talking about, yeah, I'm finally comfortable in who I am as a homosexual. And now you want me to go back in the closet because you can't tell your friends that you're into me sexually and you want to be in a relationship? Like, that's not a way to live. And, we already have a current administration that's trying to, turn this into the dark ages. They're trying to get us all fighting with each other. We made so much progress in regards of LGBTQIA plus rights. Why would you want to go back in the closet and not be yourself? Because we want to allow religion and shame and all that other stuff to be at the forefront of people hating who they are. So I applaud David for living in his truth, being comfortable in his skin, and not being afraid of wanting to be himself. And yeah, I do feel like when you get to that, because I'm at that place too, it's like when you finally get to a place where you're comfortable with who you are, you don't want to go out with some dude that's in the closet that's ashamed of you. Like, no, if I'm in a relationship, I want to show that shit off. I want to show people that I'm proud to be in a relationship with the person that I'm with. I'm not going to hide who I am. I'm not going to dim my light because you want to get your dick wet or your ass played with, but you afraid out here to be your damn authentic self. Fuck out of here. Then you go find another closet case to go hunch. Because I ain't the one, nor the two. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story in regards to David Archuleta? I'm definitely looking forward to his memoir when it comes out. I didn't know he was coming out with one, but since he's coming out with a memoir in the summer, I'm definitely going to check that out and read about his life. And I'll probably talk about it on the show. And I love the fact, I love his cover of George Michael's Freedom, where he basically said, and I quote, I feel like the song is needed now more than ever. The message of freedom and standing up for your freedom and fighting for your freedom, even when other people don't understand you, who you are and what you stand for is wrong, and they're told to fear. I'm hoping that freedom, that people really can remember George Michael's message. Well, since I grew up on George Michael, of course I remember the song and the message, but who would better yet than David Archuleta to reintroduce this song to a younger generation? So kudos to this young man. He's definitely on the right track. And I love everything that he's doing music wise and where he's going with his career. Even if he's not going to be like at the peak and valley, like he's not going to be on a level of a Benson Boone or a Chappell Roan or Charlie XX or one of those people. I love the message that he's doing. And everybody don't have to be A-list status for their message to get out there and to be doing stuff for the community. If he's forever stuck in a niche market of giving us gays what we want, I'll be here to support. That's enough for me. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Oh, you said it'll probably be on Hulu soon. Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know we got to wait a while before, because I've seen some Lifetime movies that do appear on Hulu. So I know I probably got to wait a while until people have seen it enough times. Because I know Lifetime want to get in their streams and all other stuff on the cable. But like, how many times do I got to sit and watch this before? Oh, actually, what I should do, I should probably check Philo, because I think Lifetime is on there and I probably could watch it from there. I don't know why I didn't think about that. It says, see, that's the thing. Everyone sounds like each other or reminds people of someone else. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a couple of hits because he disappeared because of the whole, when he was getting a lot of those hits, I think that was because of the label. He was attached to a label. He was, it was American Idol. He was in the closet. And then I feel like when he came out, he's able to kind of like do his own thing. Felix says, I was with a guy for over a year when I was in my late 20s, and I never met any of his friends, and we didn't go anywhere. Probably because he was in the closet. And that's usually a sign, a telltale sign. It's like they're either in the closet or they married and don't want you to know that they got a whole other life going on, married with kids, but you out here hunching dudes. We've all been there. All right, so let's get into our final topic, and I want to give you guys an update on this whole Heklina story. So we did talk about Heklina. I think it was like last week. There's been an investigation apparently going into Heklina's death, which I had no idea that they were even, the police were considering what had happened to Heklina was possibly that her life was taken. That there was, I think Peaches Christ revealed that because they were roommates at the time and they were working on a play in the UK. And Peaches was like, she went to a hotel, let Heklina have the apartment that they were staying in. I think it was an Airbnb, but they were the apartment that they stayed in. And she was going to have a gentleman caller or a gentleman friend come over and they was going, do some things. And Peaches was like, I'm going to give her privacy. I'm going to go to a hotel for a couple of days. But then when she came back, the door was ajar. There was some noise that was going on in the hotel they complained about. In the room that I think it was like something with a light or something that was making a lot of noise. And she was like, we both complained about it. So it was strange that this noise was going on. Got to the apartment, found Heklina was not alive. And people are thinking that it was some foul play, but the police and everybody kept this a secret, and now all this stuff is coming out. So I just want to give y'all a quick update on the tea that was going on with that. And she was found unalive in London on April of 2023. So Stephen Grigelko, aka Heklina, as I said, was found dead in a flat in Soho, central London, by Joshua Grinnell, who is Peaches Christ. Mr. Grinnell said that he was furious. It had taken almost 2 years for police to make a public appeal to find 3 men who detectives say were at the flat hours before Mr. Grigelko was discovered. Now, in March of 2023, a review by Baroness Casey into the Force found institutional homophobia, racism, and misogyny, which is what I truly believe all this is. But because somebody is part of the community, a lot of times, police don't want to take a lot of our cases seriously. Hence why a lot of times when they always ask, well, how come if something ever happened to the gays, why don't nobody ever go to the cops? Because the way y'all treat us when we come forth with these type of stories. So detectives released CCTV footage last month of 3 men who may have vital information about what happened. Mr. Grinnell criticized the police for failing to keep him and Mr. Grigelko's next of kin informed over the investigation, saying, when I left London, they had assigned me with a family liaison officer. They convinced me that we would be updated weekly, that we would be included in the process, that we would be informed of anything. I got on the plane and every email went unanswered for months and months. They just completely ignored us. Now, Mr. Grinnell said that they had not been officially told the cause of Mr. Grigelko's death, which is being treated as unexpected. You know what? I'm tired of reading Mr. this, Mr. that. Why can't y'all just say Peaches and Heklina? So Peaches said they still had not been officially told the cause of Heklina's death, which is being treated as unexpected, and accused the Met of dismissing him and his friends as trash. So they said, I hate being the person who incorrectly would cry homophobia if it's not homophobia, but they have left me no choice. Well, that's exactly what it is. This is definitely homophobia because I feel like if someone was found dead, if 3 people left the apartment, if Heklina was going on with some dude was interested in a hookup, but the dude that she was hooking up with had ulterior motives, as we have talked about on this show, where there have been many a situation where people who will go on Grindr or go on any of the apps and you're trying to just get laid, but the other person on the other end is some type of a criminal up to some scam or whatever the case is, and then they have intent to rob and or unalive you. which we've heard these stories happen before. There was a whole story that came out about some guy that went to go meet up for a hookup, and it was 12 frat dudes went and beat him up, tied him up, saying that he was trying to hook up with some underage boy, when apparently the state that they lived in, where you would think that the person was underage, whatever, because I think they were 15, 16, they actually is the age of consent. So we're not going to sit up here and act like that homophobia is not something that's prominent within our community in these type of situations, especially when it comes to hooking up with guys in the apps. You never know who you're hooking up with in these type of situations. So Peaches found Heklina's body when he returned to their flat one morning and told officers he was certain that someone else had been there before he arrived. The door was not only not locked, but it wasn't shut all the way. I went to put my key in, the door just opened. A Met spokesperson said a number of inquiries had been pursued before issuing the CCTV appeal. Now, Detective Detective Chief Superintendent, I think is what it's called because they abbreviated it, Christina Jessa, said the force appreciated the next of kin had been frustrated by the pace of the investigation and the lack of updates. She added, "We apologize and will be taking steps to correct this." She said officers were also continuing to speak to London's LGBT plus community to address wider safety concerns. So yeah, for those of you who need a refresher, I do have the picture. It's not even a good picture of the shot of the three men, but that's basically the picture that they're providing right now. Now, they said the Met has been trying to improve confidence in policing, following a number of scandals, including failures in the investigation into the serial killer, Stephen Port. Oh, I want to know the tea on this person. Who's that? Because this is London crime. So I need my Brits to fan out, fill me in on what's going on. Now, a number of reforms have since been made, including introducing new community liaison officers. But according to research published by the Mayor's Office for Policing and Crime, only 55% of LGBT plus respondents said that they trusted the Met, compared to 73% of those who did not identify as LGBT plus. Mr. Grinnell, who performs as Peaches Christ, described his friend as a trailblazer who had opened the doors for many other drag artists. Heklina was maybe one of the funniest people I've ever met. She was dark and hilarious, and what she didn't want the world to know was that she was secretly kind. But that's always the case with a lot of queens. It's the fact that you're dark, you're messy, you're funny, you do all this other stuff, but then on the low, the nicest people you ever meet. Secretly kind. So I totally believe that. Quietly behind the scenes, she was constantly helping people out, but the deal was you couldn't tell people. He said he had been constantly questioning what had happened to his friend. Said the most nightmarish, life-changing experience of my life has only been made infinitely worse by the Met Police. So it just feels like to me that the police are trying to clean up this mess, and I applaud Peaches for calling them out. It's like, yeah, my friend has been dead for 3 years. I haven't heard anything. What's going on with the case? Have you brought these people in? Have you figured out who they are? Have you brought them in for questioning? Y'all got, in places, especially like New York and all these other places, these metropolitan areas, y'all put these cameras all over the damn place to try to act like, you actually got our concerns, you're genuinely concerned for the people. But then, if Big Brother's watching, but when it comes down to Big Brother actually having to get up and do what needs to be done for the people, especially when it comes to a case like this, where somebody might have had their life taken and robbed or whatever the case was, I don't know the details of the whole situation on what could have transpired that night and if they stole anything or whatever the case was. Or was there some shame behind the fact that it was a dude that hooked up with a drag queen? And now, you get those people that get so caught up in their head of like, oh, I hooked up with someone. Now I need to kind of watch that. We hear many of the stories happen when it comes to trans women, where a lot of these men hang their head in shame. They don't want to be found out. They get clocked for hooking up with a trans woman. And so they feel like the only way they can get away, I was bamboozled. I was lied to. I was scammed. And so now I got to make myself look good, which I don't know how you make yourself look good by taking somebody's life, but I guess you would rather just take someone's life than own up to the fact that you like men who cross-dress, or you like men you like sex with someone of the same gender, or you into trans women. I had to compartmentalize all of them because I didn't want people saying, well, you try to equate this to this. No, I already know everything is different. People like what they like. But there's always a shame that comes behind that, especially when it comes from religion. So I hope they find out what the real situation is. Peaches, keep your foot on their neck. Keep informing us on what's going on. Apology is not enough. Now you need to follow the apology with wrapping up this case and finding out what happened to Heklina. Because a lot of people, especially when I first even mentioned this story and I shared it, a lot of people from Sharon Needles on to Lady Bunny, a lot of them had no idea that there was even some type of, the police were looking into this situation until this made the news. So hopefully they find out what happened. Hopefully, Heklina gets the closure that she deserves, and I hope that we can get some closure on this as well. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story and the latest regarding Peaches Christ speaking out on her friend Heklina and, her getting the apology? The apology is cute or whatever, but y'all need to do a little more than an apology. Now y'all need to get cracking with this case and find out what actually happened to her. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. You say, okay. Oh, he married now. Wait, who we talking about? Oh, you talking about the man that you was hunching? That you was in a relationship in their 20s? He married with children. Isn't that usually how it goes? Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. But anyway. All right, guys, so we're at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. If you can, please hit that like button and that subscribe button, and also smash the notification bell. Helps with the algorithm, and also helps me make a little more coin, so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I'll definitely be putting timestamps into the show for those who are going to come on after watching the live, so that way you can just get right to the topics, whatever the case is. I love you all for watching, and try to come on tomorrow and give y'all another show, because I know I wasn't on yesterday. So I'm gonna try to come on and give y'all a little something. If not, then have a great weekend. I'm gonna try to do, I was like, should I do a show on Super Bowl Sunday? It depends. If there's entertaining stuff that's out, I might jump on Sunday and run my mouth on here with y'all as well. So love you all for watching. Also, like I said, hit that like button and subscribe button and that notification bell. And until next time, ciao, darlings.